New York Giant fans. I saw somebody in the chat say, "Where's the stream?" The stream's right here, reality. But what's going on, Bad Dog, man? Thanks for popping in, buddy.
What is going on, everybody? How are we doing, Chris? We had a week off last week, and obviously you went down to the game and watched the Giants beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I think it was probably. I mean, well, last year the Seahawks win still has to rank above it in terms of since I've been on YouTube, because that win, even though it was, it didn't turn out to be, what we thought it could be. It seemed like a franchise shifting victory, but to beat the Eagles at home, to beat them 2 straight times in a row for the first time since 2007, and to be there for that atmosphere, the crowd was definitely rocking. I know. Giants fans, typically, they're not known to be the rowdiest and loudest of fans. You definitely felt the energy in the stadium for that Eagles game. There were definitely a decent portion of Eagles fans as well, but it just felt great to get the win. Was it pretty? No, it was sloppy. The defense even, as good as they played, they only gave up 7 points. Defense even showed holes. I mean, we couldn't stop the run. The read option killed us throughout that entire game. We created 2 turnovers, though, in the red zone, 4 turnovers overall. Did a great job against Jalen Hurts, who can't throw. You've been saying that since he entered the league, and you saw that on full display against the Eagles, and we got a big win. Now we're 4-7, and then this week, Bad Dog, we get news. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones now going to be out. We don't know how that, what's going to happen with that. How long is he going to be out? Is it going to be a week-to-week thing? I don't know, man. I'm leaning that I think it's going to be a lot longer than just 1 week based off some of the things that Joe Judge had to say. And we'll see. I guess it's going to be up to the doctors. But Mike Glennon, Giraffe Neck's going to be our quarterback this week.
Yeah, about the Eagles game, it's always good to beat Philadelphia. When I'm watching that game, and we can't score either. I mean, let's face it, we're struggling on offense. Then they go down and they go up 13-7. All I can think of the entire time is we're losing 14-13. This is just a typical Eagles-Giants game. We completely whooped their ass. We own the, we have 4 turnovers in the game. We can't put them away, and they're going to come back and they're going to win. Luckily, it didn't happen, which means I ain't got to wear that Eagles jersey, but Philly 500 got to wear Giants gear the next time we play this stream. So if nothing else happened this year, I said it before, if we didn't win another game the rest of the year, this is the one I wanted because I don't want to lose that bet. It's very rare, like I said, monetary, whatever. I mean, money's money and whatever, but pride is one. I don't want that because that's stuck with you for the rest of your life. Everybody that takes pictures of you, takes screenshots of you, and they use where they're going to have all the screenshots Philly 500 in Giants gear. I ain't got to worry about that. But as far as Daniel Jones goes, I knew nothing about the neck injury. Then there was word that he was out. Then they said, well, he's questionable because he's going to, he's practicing. And then they said he wasn't cleared for contact. And he probably is out. At the very least, I would imagine a couple weeks. I can't imagine that they're going to hurry him back. I don't know why they would. And, because, again, our season's really – I know we're 4-7. I still don't think we can make a playoff. We'd really have to everything would have to shift. Can't depend on the defense to shut down teams, give up 7 points and have 4 turnovers every week. The offense has to find something of people that can't stand Daniel Jones. I've been asking for Mike Glennon. You're going to get your opportunity. It sucks, but this just goes to show you how much we really do miss Eli Manning. Eli never had an injury that kept him out for a week. And Daniel Jones, this is a 3rd straight year in a row he's missed time with an injury.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, and we'll see if Glennon can step up. We'll talk more about the game in a second. Going to say hello to everybody in the chat. Ian Brand in the chat, Sean Sullivan in the chat, Give Me Your Soul Food in the chat, Pack Rat in the chat, Afghanistan, Mr. Mini Guy, Bahama, Reality, Amazing Guy. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all the support you guys always show. Jay Diamond, Christopher, Killian Farrell, David the Marine Veteran, NYB, my man, Afghanistan. I said you twice. I don't care. You're the best. TG Fishing, Milan, MNC Worldwide, Mark Hernandez. Thank you to everybody for being here. I can't shout each and every one of you guys out, but you guys are the best. Thank you guys for making this the most fun live show on YouTube. Even though the Giants are horrible right now, you got college football.
Now, since we started doing the show.
You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Even in the darkest of times with this football team, you guys still show some support, and you guys come back and watch the show. Construction worker Saban coming at Bad Dog hot and heavy says, Bad Dog, I thought Georgia was the best team.
Hey, in 2007, the Patriots are the best too. It doesn't mean that they're not beatable. I said it right on Uncle Lou's video. I should know better. Saban, I never bet against Belichick. I don't know why the hell I would have bet against Saban today, but I did. didn't see it coming. Hey, shout out to Alabama. They played awesome. Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy today. Could be the Giants quarterback 2023. Got a good look at him today. Get a good look at Tyler Linderbaum and
that
Aiden
guy's
Hutchinson.
number one, man.
What's
that
that?
guy's number one. Bryce Young.
Yeah, well, you don't know where we're picking in 2023.
We don't know. Hopefully, we're not picking one. But if we are,
you don't know what we're picking in 2023. But you're also going to go look at Tyler Linderbaum and Aiden Hutchinson tonight in the Big Ten championship game, and that's at halftime. So I got the Rangers on now. I love championship Saturday, man. It's always a lot of fun. That Baylor Oklahoma State game was incredible today, man. That was a great game. And of course, you got Pitt and Wake Forest. It's like a freaking basketball game over there. Neither one of them teams plays defense, so. It's a lot of fun. Good day in sports today.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have the playoffs coming up, and
not a good day for the Knicks, I might say.
Knicks have been horrible, man. Knicks have been horrible the last 5, well, really like the last 15 games. But yeah, I talked enough about them today. NYGuys 26, man. Thank you very much. Hey, Chris, yesterday was hard. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you lost your dog. Sorry to hear that, man. Today harder. This stream will cheer me up, like always. Thank you guys. Hopefully Jones can finish this season. I mean, I think we're both hoping that Jones finishes the season. Like Baddog said, I know there's some fans that want to see Glennon. I don't think Glennon's going to make much of a difference at all. Now, the one thing I will say about this game specifically, Baddog, when I looked at this game coming in, even though I do think Dan Jones is a better quarterback than Mike Glennon, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference of who's going to be playing quarterback for the New York Giants. Because simply the Miami defense is ridiculous. I mean, they're very blitz heavy. They've been incredible the last 5 or 6 weeks. They haven't surrendered more than 102 yards on the ground, and they've been creating turnovers. So I thought the game plan was going to be very conservative regardless of who the quarterback was going to be going into this game, and the Giants are going to have to rely on that defense. Tua Tagovailoa has been great the last month. He's at a completion percentage of over 80%. The Dolphins have only turned it over, I think, 2 times in their last 3 games. So to me, it's going to come down to Patrick Graham coming up with a game plan, getting Tua off of his game, doing a good job against the run, something they kind of struggle with, and creating some turnovers. And that's kind of they're going to have to win sloppy, whether it was Daniel Jones or Mike Glennon. So yes, do I knock us down a slight peg? Sure. But I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in this game specifically.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our offense, it's not like it's been great with Daniel Jones. We put up 13 points against the Eagles. We got 4 turnovers. We still only put up 13 points. So, yeah, I really don't think that the offense goes down a ton because it hasn't been good at all this year anyway. So, I would like to see them. They've got to find a way to get Saquon Barkley the ball out of space. I mean, he's had a hard time running behind that horrible offensive line this year. They haven't really opened any holes for him. He's not really a north and south runner the way Devontae Booker is. He's kind of patient and waits for a hole to open up, and then really nothing's opening up. So he's not the guy that's just going to run into the back of the lineman to get 2 or 3 yards. He's your explosive playmaker, especially with no Kadarius Toney again. So they got to use Saquon the way they did his rookie year. I mean, he had 91 receptions his rookie year. I don't understand why they don't have Saquon going out on wheel routes, trying to get him matched up with a linebacker, throwing some real screens where you bring some linemen out there to block for him. I want to see Barkley get 6 to 7 touches in the receiving game because, again, that's kind of an extension of the run. And if you can't block up front, if you get him out in space and let him maneuver and make some moves, maybe get a couple of big plays outside of the tackle box, maybe we got something. Because, again, I don't know what the hell Mike Glennon's going to bring. The Giants aren't a vertical passing team. They haven't been that all year. I don't know if that changes. And I guess we'll see. If Glennon does go deep down the field a lot in this game, and who knows, maybe then people say, oh, well, maybe it's not Jason Garrett or Freddie Kitchens saying don't go deep. Maybe it is the quarterback just saying I'm going to take a check down instead of taking a chance. So you really don't know. Maybe it is possible that we stretch the field with Glennon. I guess only time will tell. We'll find out in about, 15 hours?
Game's at 1, right? I didn't even check the time. I'm assuming it's at 1. So yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to what the game plan is going to be, but obviously Miami, we've seen what they've done the last couple of weeks. Their defense has been ridiculous. I mean, they held Lamar Jackson in check. They made him a one-dimensional player and they were able to beat Baltimore. Their defense is certainly starting to turn the corner, and I think it's going to be really difficult, but I think it has to be a game if we're, I think the game plan has to be to try to at least establish the run. And I don't think we're going to be successful doing it, especially being, when I look at how good Miami's been against the run this year, but I think you have to at least try. But the way that I think you're going to have to combat this ultra aggressive defense, if they come out with that similar game plan, they're going to have to use the screen game. I mean, they're going to have to try to take advantage of that aggressiveness, use Barkley in the screen game, use Ingram over the middle. And we'll see if the New York Giants are able to get anything going offensively, but it's certainly going to be a challenge. Just want to give a quick
young man actually said it. I was going to say that too. He said the Dolphins never played a guy like Glennon. I was going to say, hey, Lamar Jackson ain't no Mike Glennon, Chris. Let's be honest.
That's true. Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. Want to shout out Killian, man. Thank you for being a member for 8 months. He says, leave that like. And sorry I missed those sometimes, guys. I know I've missed a number of those in some of my other streams. It doesn't pop up on.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on StreamYard. It only shows up on YouTube chat, so I miss them sometimes too.
Yeah, so I just saw it now. I want to shout you out. Leave that thumbs up. And Sub Boys, love these two guys. So hyped for the Dolphins game. I still think we have a chance with Mike. So happy it's a 6 p.m. game over here. Well, I hope you enjoy the game, Killian. And I agree. I think there's a chance. I definitely think there's a chance. Miami's won 4 straight. They've looked really good doing it. But they beat the Jets. They beat Houston. They beat Carolina, who we beat up on as well. And they did have that one very impressive win against Baltimore. So we'll see. It's one game at a time, and hopefully we get Jones back after this week. We'll see.
I know that the Eagles are saying that Hurts is hurt. That's BS. So
you know what, Baddog? I was thinking the same.
I'm going to tell you right now, I missed by 2 weeks. The beginning of the year when I did the round table with which I'm doing that again Wednesday. That should be fun in the middle of the year. When I did that round table with Law Nation, Louis T, and Lord Brunson, I said after the Broncos game, hot take, they're going to bench Jalen Hurts in favor of Gardner Minshew. I missed by 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is. They benched him after the Giants game. And I know Eagle fans are still making, Rager dropped the pass. Please stop. Jalen Hurts can't throw. Please just stop. He can't throw. The Giants picked him off 3 times. He was terrible.
Should have picked him off 2 more times.
Terrible in that game. Yeah, they should have picked him off 2 more times. He was awful. He can run. And why the Eagles? Hey, shout out to Nick Sirianni. Thank you. Because why the Eagles didn't even try to run in the first half, and then they ran in the third quarter. They ran for over 100 yards in the third quarter alone, and they started to take over the game. Thank you for making Jalen Hurts pass that much. We appreciate you. Because if we had to stop the run the whole game, we would have lost.
We couldn't stop the run. They ran for over 200 yards against us.
When they have won, it's because Hurts has done nothing. Look at his stats. He doesn't pass the ball well. And all their wins, look at how bad his wins. He threw for 387 in a loss against Dallas. He threw for over 300 in a loss against maybe it was the Raiders. He's had some empty stats, but when they were winning, he didn't do anything against the Lions. He didn't do anything against the Saints. He didn't do anything against had a good game against the Falcons and they won.
Yeah.
But he's a runner. He's not a passer. And
I'm with you.
I'm glad that they decided to throw the ball a lot. That interception before the half, that was really bad. But I mean, you can't do that.
On the 2 yard on the 2 yard line or whatever it was. Yeah.
He thought he wasted too much time and he panicked. He threw a bad pass. Take Ryder picked it off.
Yeah. And Joey, man, thank you very much, man. We need Aiden Hutchinson, but let's get this dub. I mean, I would love Aiden Hutchinson. That guy's a beast. I'm not watching the game right now, but I've seen him play. I watched him last week against Ohio State. I don't think he's going to be there when we pick. I've seen him going as high as 1 in some of these more recent mocks. Things change leading up into the draft. But, he's definitely a guy that I would love. He would definitely help this defense, no doubt about it. Did I just knock myself out? I don't think I did.
No, you're good. You're good.
True Rappler says, stop listening to Tracy Chapman for this live. Well, I appreciate you for popping in the live. True Rappler, man, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody for being here. Appreciate it. And let me just get to a couple of these before.
Give me one reason to stay here.
Exactly. Duran says, how do you feel about Notre Dame's new hire in Freeman? Yeah, Duran, to be completely honest with you, I don't know a ton about him. I know that he was an assistant on the staff. He has no head coaching experience. We'll see. I mean, I hope he does a great job. He was an assistant this year in 2021. It was his only year with them. And we'll see. I'm just still a little bit surprised that Kelly decided to quit, with the possibility of them potentially playing in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, well, I wasn't surprised Lincoln Riley left, but him going to USC was kind of surprising. But then again, there was a lot of rumors of him going to LSU. And then when he went to USC, I realized overrated Riley didn't want any part of the SEC. Would have got exposed there. Even with Oklahoma, they would have lost 4 or 5 games. He's a terrible coach. I had a rant video. I rarely ever do college videos. It's extremely rare. After week 1, when they barely beat Tulane, I went off on Lincoln Riley. Said this guy's overrated. He's soft. He doesn't know anything. And I go, oh, you're talking about Lincoln Riley. Blah. Yeah. How do you feel now? Now you're like, oh, well, geez, Baddog, you were right. Yeah, no kidding. Good. Go to USC. The Pac-12 is irrelevant. Did anybody even know Utah and Oregon played last night? It was the same result that happened last time. It was almost the same score. Utah killed Oregon. The Pac-12 is irrelevant. Have fun, Lincoln. Bye. I'm curious who the Sooners are going to get, though. You guys hired a head coach already. I'm interested to see. Brent Venables is a guy I think is coming here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was surprised that, as well. Without, I guess they liked him a lot, but without actually like you said, looking it over and seeing who would want to come there. I was a little surprised they jumped on it as quickly as they did. Killing, Matt. Thank you very much, man. Dave G equals Biden, old and numb. Yeah, he's done. Dave Gettleman's done. Probably like Biden.
Yeah, he's going to retire or resign if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think he's done at the end of this year. There's no more defending Dave at this point. And let's John Laterno in the chat, big Eagles fan. He probably didn't like the Jalen Hurts talk. Says, stand up, bad dog. Give me a Stella.
No, he knows he stinks. Stella!
Will the people head the Giants beat the Dolphins? And since Hurts is not a great thrower, can running and using Minshew a better option? Well, your running game, and again, I'm not an Eagles fan, but I would just assume your running game is going to be completely different. Not to say that it won't be effective. You guys have run well with the running backs, but not having Hurts in there and not having that threat with the quarterback with the read option, his ability to run might, lessen your I guess, your the probability of you being able to run for like 200 yards a game because they have to honor the speed of Jalen Hurts. I think it'll be a somewhat different game plan. I think Minshew's a better thrower of the football. So you'll probably see Devontae Smith more involved in the offense. I don't think you get away from the run, but I don't know if you run as consistently as you did when you had Jalen Hurts.
The way I look at this, Johnny, is this. I think that they benched Hurts. I think they're using this as an excuse, and I think that they should bench Hurts at this point. You might as well see what you have in Gardner Minshew. If he comes and he balls out, then you have your quarterback for the next year. You keep your draft picks. If he stinks, it's not going to surprise me if the Eagles make a run at Russell Wilson. I've heard this talk about Russell Wilson to the Giants. It makes no sense. He's getting his ass kicked in Seattle. Why would he come to a team like the Giants that has no offensive line in front of him and it is in complete shambles? And we don't know what the hell is going on with anybody, front office, coaching staff. We don't know. There's going to be a lot of changes here.
Right.
There's going to be no changes in Philadelphia. You have one of the better offensive lines in the league. You can sign him because you have cap space now that you dumped Carson Wentz. You have draft capital to get him. To me, if Minshew balls out, you keep him, keep your draft picks. If he stinks, you can make a run at Russell Wilson next year, and it would not surprise me one bit if Russell Wilson was playing for the Eagles. I hate to say that. It makes me sick to my stomach because he's one of my favorite players. But it would make all the sense in the world if the Eagles don't believe that Minshew or Hurts is a quarterback and you have 3 first-round picks and you can go out and get Russell Wilson to get him.
I think Russell Wilson, and I agree with you, I don't think he's a good fit here. Like you said, people have asked me that several times.
We don't have the money for him anyway.
We don't have the money. Well, I don't know what the Eagles cap situation is next year, but
it's better.
Have the money. Yeah, but it has to be.
I think they do have money because the Hurts is off the books.
Yeah.
Not Hurts, Wentz. Sorry.
Wentz, rather. Yeah. But yeah, they probably do have some money. But yeah, I think he's a much better fit with the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate to say that, but if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be interested in bringing in Russell Wilson. You got 3 first-round picks. Your offensive line is much better than ours. Even though it's a little bit older, but it's definitely much more advanced than ours is. I think Wilson to the Eagles makes a lot more sense than the Giants. Now, whether or not he play with the Eagles, I don't know. He's got a no trade clause, and we'll see. But if I was an Eagles fan, I think that could make sense for you guys for sure, especially if you're not interested in a quarterback in this year's draft.
Me personally, if he was if exalted of all charges, I would prefer Deshaun Watson.
Well, of course, he's 25.
Deshaun Watson was my favorite player before this whole thing happened.
He's 25 years old. He's 10 years younger than
he can play.
Yeah. And Mark, man, thank you so much, man, for being a member for 9 months. He says, keep it 100, guys. Appreciate you for being here, Mark. Always try, man. Always gonna give my opinion. Sometimes you're gonna agree, sometimes you're not, but we appreciate you being here, man. And Abe, man, thank you for being a member for 20 months. Linderbaum, Hutch, or Neal, who you got if all available? Happy belated Thanksgiving to both of you. Appreciate that, Abe.
Thank you, Abe.
Linderbaum, Hutchinson, or Neal, who do you got? Oof.
Linderbaum.
He would actually be third for me, and I love all of them. He would actually be third for me because I think there'd be a better chance I could get Linderbaum with my second pick, being that he's a center. Neal's, most people feel at least as.
Well, he's saying if only one was there, though.
No, he said they're all available.
Oh, they're all available.
Yeah, Linderbaum, Hutchinson, or Neal. Who do you got if all are available? For me, it's between Neal and Hutchinson. That's really tough.
Linderbaum's still my dude.
Yeah, it would either be Neal or Hutchinson for me. That's really close. I think both of them are going to be top 5 picks as of now. Maybe my opinion will change as the draft grows nearer. I think it would depend on what position because they're like dead even for me. And I think it would depend on which position I felt like I had a higher probability of getting to me with an impact player with my second pick. So I think it would depend on where, what my second pick was going to be. But both are huge needs. I'd probably lean Hutchinson just because getting a premier edge rusher is so hard to find. And if I identified that he could be that type of player for this defense, and then I'd go offensive line with my second pick, depending on where that pick was. But it's splitting hairs. I'd be happy with either one of them.
Yeah, and listen, man, I've preached defense forever, and I want the offensive line. Our defense is good enough to win. If the offense did anything this year, we would have had 7 wins instead of 4. We'd be 7-4. If our offense could do anything, we would have beat the Falcons. We would have beat the Chiefs. We should have beat Washington anyway. We would have gave better games against the better teams as well. So and having a better offense would help our defense. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I'm a line guy, Baddog. We could take 2 linemen. I'm going to be smiles ear to ear.
No, I think we need to go 2 linemen. Listen, the whole reason I said that the Giants should keep Daniel Jones next year is because I don't want to trade draft capital for a quarterback, and I don't like the quarterbacks in this class. Set the quarterback up in 2023 with a good offensive line, and hey, all the people that have made the excuse for Daniel Jones, it's the new system, it's Jason Garrett, it's all it's this, it's that. Well, all those excuses have been exhausted except for the offensive line. Build that O-line, and then hey, if Daniel Jones is really good next year, we could say, yeah, there was the offensive line's fault. They'd be stinks. You bring in the quarterback in 2023, Bryce Young. And you have an offensive line for the kid.
Let me ask you this, Baddog, though, and I don't disagree with anything that you said. I feel that way. That doesn't mean that's what the Giants are going to do. If the Giants do what I think they're going to do, Gettleman, we both agree is going to be gone.
Yeah.
Judge, I think we probably both agree is going to be back. Based off some of the things what Rappaport said, maybe you don't agree with that. I think he's going to be back.
Yeah, I think Judge will be back here, yes.
If Judge is back.
I don't want him back, but I think he'll be here.
Yeah, if he's back and they hire, say an in-house GM or a guy from the Patriots like they've rumored, do you think Joe Judge? Because Judge is going to be think about it like this, Baddog. And I don't believe a word that Joe Judge says about his players. And this week is the perfect evidence as to why I feel that way. Joe Judge this week said that Nate Solder's doing a good job. Okay, so any positive?
Yeah, that's why I should be fired.
Well, but I don't blame him for that. He's backing up his players. I'm not going to kill him for that.
Be real, man.
But anything he says positive about Daniel Jones in the past goes out the window for me. He was not here when they drafted Daniel Jones. He was given Daniel Jones, right? He wasn't part of the evaluation process in drafting Daniel Jones. And if you're Joe Judge, and again, I'm with you. I want to go line. I want to fill in the rest of this roster. But if you're Judge, knowing if you like a quarterback, say you like Pickett, who's probably as of now my favorite quarterback in this class. Maybe my opinion will change as it draws near, but I was watching him tonight. I've watched some highlights on him before. He's definitely got some tools. Say you like him. Say he's on the board.
No ACC quarterback, please.
I don't want a quarterback, but we're talking from Judge perspective. If you're Judge, knowing taking a quarterback lengthens your leash a little bit, right? And you get to bring in your guy. Because to me, it's clearly apparent that I don't think he's convinced with Daniel Jones. He never gives the guy opportunities on 4th down. He runs a completely conservative offense. I'm not ruling it out that Judge could want to take a quarterback in this draft.
I agree. I don't think that he likes Jones. I think that's why he's conservative. But I'm going to tell you this about the leash. That didn't work for Pat Shurmur.
It didn't.
There's no way that works for Joe Judge. They drafted Daniel Jones for Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur was fired the very year after they drafted Daniel Jones. So you could go out there and get Kenny Pickett. You could get Matt Corral. You could get Sam Howell. Whatever. Well, that's my guy. And then we go 5-12, and they say,
sayonara.
Rangers just scored again, and they say, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm with you. If I'm the GM going into next year, I'm filling in the other needs of this team. Maybe I'm bringing in. The one thing I will say, I think I'm definitely, especially not even just because of performance, because Daniel Jones has clearly shown over his first 3 years in the league, he's probably going to miss time. Like, you could bank on it now, right? I mean, he's missed 2 games his rookie year. He missed 2 games last year. He's going to miss at least 2 games this year. Plus, he had the concussion against Dallas where he missed basically the whole game. So just that, knowing that, I think they have to bring in a much better backup next year.
I am by no means saying I think Daniel Jones is the future of this team. Not at all. Yeah. I'm done with him. I'm not convinced. He's not going to convince me. But the way the 2022 team is constructed with no with no cap space at all. We're pretty much stuck with what we have this year. So we kind of know what we are. And with 2 top 10 draft picks, you're going to try to find ways. They're going to be expensive to sign those guys. You're going to lose Solder, which, listen, and that's the other thing with Joe Judge. He was given Daniel Jones. Yep. Well, he was also given Solder, but he was part of drafting Matt Parrott. So why the hell are we not looking at Parrott? If Parrott is that bad, like, I don't know what Judge is looking at.
To me, this is where they lose me, Baddog. Going into the year, I could talk about the Parrott thing for days. I'm going to trust the coaching staff. The coaching staff has come out. Rob Sell has come out and flat out said Nate Solder is a better player at this point in time than Matt Parrott. And I'm going to trust him.
Joe Judge. Hi. Yeah, Nate Solder looks really good. Really good. I can't hear it.
Here's my issue, Baddog. Here's my issue. I'm going to trust the coach's judgment on that. But the fact, if that is the case, if you didn't know 1,000,000% going into this year that Matt Parrott was better than Nate Solder, how in the world did you not draft an offensive lineman? That's what boggles my mind. Because Nate Solder, we're fans. We watch the games. We could see it. The guy sucks.
He's terrible. He's terrible. And at this point in the season, why wouldn't you at least see – yeah, if Parrott is worse than Nate Solder.
How did you not draft a lineman?
That's Joe Judge. And yeah, nobody wants it. Nobody believes Joe Judge. I mean, come on. I'm not believing a damn thing Joe Judge tells me. So he can say whatever he wants. But when you say, oh, yeah, Nate Solder's improved, we're not. You know, we don't watch the games with the headphones over our eyes, Joe.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe. I mean, come on.
I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Some fans may disagree with me, but that's just my opinion on it. Mike, thank you very much, man. Isn't he too old for the Birds to give up 2 firsts?
33.
He's 30. He's going to be 34 next year.
That's fine for a quarterback.
But for the team that they have, I don't think it's a bad fit because they have a good line. You know, you're talking about a team that's running for 200 yards every game. Like the Eagles have a good line. They don't have the same problem that we have.
They got Devontae Smith. They could get
not that we have pieces, but in terms of throwing the ball to, but their line is.
Do we know who are we throwing to?
Well, if they stay healthy.
Yeah, if
they stay healthy. But to me, it's their line is what I'd be more confident if I was an Eagles fan in terms of bringing him in. Which it's a dramatic improvement over Seattle's line as well. I don't know if you watched the primetime game this week, Bad Dog. Seattle's offensive line might be worse than ours.
Oh, it was bad. I felt bad for Russell Wilson. He was getting killed.
Yeah, it's bad. And I know Russell's not playing quite as good this year. He's carried that team for years. He's got an injury. He definitely doesn't look like the same quarterback, but that line is bad.
Bad.
John, man, thank you very much, man. Joe Judge didn't get to evaluate Daniel Jones this year because we had so many injuries. I think Daniel Jones is our quarterback next year, not a stopgap, and we draft offensive line heavy in the draft with linebacker and edge. Yeah, I mean, I think that's entirely possible, John. He would be the stopgap if he doesn't prove to be, you know, and I'm going to give Jones a very fair chance, much like I did this year, if they elect to go that route. Going into next year, if they have an offseason like that where they address the offensive line, they bring in 2 offensive linemen, I'm going to go into the year. Obviously, my expectations have to be much better, you know, because it's year 4 now. So for me, if you go out there and you draft 2 offensive linemen, Daniel Jones doesn't just have to be an average or slightly above average quarterback to warrant giving him a contract extension, Bad Dog. And by the way, you cannot give him the 5th-year option. You can't do it. You can't give him the 5th-year option before
it's going to cost $21 million or something.
Can't do it. So going into next year, it is going to be the last year that he's under contract with the New York Giants, and it's going to be a put up or shut up year if they go this route. And for me to warrant giving him a second contract, he's got to be at a bare minimum a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. At a bare minimum with the amount of money that these quarterbacks make. So I'm going to give him the year. I'm going to be as fair as I can in terms of analyzing him next year if they elect to go that route. But if he doesn't take a monumental leap, I'm going to be on board with drafting a quarterback. I'll tell you that right now. He's got to improve a lot as a quarterback if they improve this offensive line and try to improve the pieces around him and they go that route. And the other thing I'm going to say in the offseason, I think they have to get a proven backup if they go that route as well. I'm not talking about Mike Glennon. I'm talking about, I'm not saying, Marcus Mariota. I'm talking about maybe a Mitchell Trubisky. I'm talking about maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo, a Teddy Bridgewater, somebody that could push this guy if he's not getting
Andy Dalton, maybe.
Andy Dalton, or if he gets hurt. So that would be my plan going into next year. I think it's put up or shut up time for sure if they're going into year 4 with Jones. I'll say that right now. The kid gloves are off. But John, man, thank you very much. And John Letourneau, he says, Chris, When are you finally going to put the Cowboys in their place like Baddog Day, making that LT statement? I didn't get to watch the video, so I mean, it's ridiculous. You want my opinion on what Baddog was absolutely right. I still haven't watched Mark's video. I watched Baddog's video. For anybody to come out and make the claim that Micah Parsons is on the same level as Lawrence Taylor, are you on drugs? Are you on drugs? Micah Parsons played half a season. Lawrence Taylor is arguably the greatest player in the history of the NFL. Not the history of the Giants, not the greatest linebacker ever, arguably the greatest player in the history of the NFL. Now, a lot of people would argue, Brady or Montana or Jerry Rice, but he's in the discussion.
Yeah.
And to put a rookie, Micah Parsons, who's got 9 or 10 career sacks in the discussion with Lawrence Taylor, is a joke. And it is what it is. It is such a dumb statement, Baddog. I have to think that Mark is trolling.
I thought the first time he did it, but the fact it's been like 2 or 3 videos, I'm like, man, he's got a new man crush. Oh, and trust me, when I do the Mark Holmes imitation, oh yeah, get him.
They're not even close. Lawrence Taylor's the greatest defensive player of
all time.
They were
comparing J.J. Watt, Lawrence Taylor, nope. Khalil Mack, nope. Chase Young last year, nope. Nope. It's always like says to me, oh, well, that was Peter King. Number one, this is why people don't listen to the media. Think for yourself. Don't just blindly listen. Oh, I'm going to repeat with this. No, think for yourself. If Peter King said that's stupid, but the media will do anything, and I mean anything to push Dallas. Anything to push Dallas. I mean, we all know the Cowboys have been irrelevant for 26 years. They ain't won anything since I was 19. I am 45. The last time that team won anything, I was 19. 19! That's a long time.
Anytime a Cowboys fan comes at me, I said Eli Manning won more playoff games in 2007 since you won your last Super Bowl.
Right.
Since you won your last Super Bowl. We won more playoff games in 2007 since the last time they won their last Super Bowl in 1995?
Yeah. So they will do whatever they can to just give the Dallas some juice. So that's what they're doing now. Jason, look at Micah Parsons. He Lawrence Taylor. No, he isn't.
Not even close.
He isn't Derek Thomas. He isn't Ray Lewis. He's
not Junior Seau.
What's that?
He's not Junior Seau. He ain't even Brian Urlacher.
Right.
Relax.
He's
not even Zach Thomas yet.
Relax.
Come on. What is that? Polanco, man, thank you very much, man. But if they stick with Daniel Jones and build the O-lines, very likely next year they're bad, not bad enough. We will be stuck in quarterback purgatory. Well, here's what I'll say to that, Polanco, and I completely understand where you're coming from. One, to me, if you just take a quarterback to take a quarterback, you're also setting yourselves up for purgatory. The way I look at quarterbacks, Baddog, and I make this comparison all the time. I look at it like I look at women. When you're going shopping for a wife, I don't want to settle for a 5 or 6. I want to shoot my shot at a 10. So I want to feel that quarterback has an upside to be a top 5 quarterback. And if I don't feel that's the case, I ain't swinging. So unless I feel that way about any of these quarterbacks in this draft, I'm not just taking a quarterback to take a quarterback. I understand the logic of that you could be in quarterback hell. But my argument against that, Baddog, is this. If we can improve our team to a point where you could bring in a guy that's a good quarterback, you can make him look really good with a good team around him. Baddog, is Mac Jones as talented as Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Is he even close to as talented as Trevor Lawrence?
No, he's not.
What's the reason he's playing better than Trevor Lawrence?
Well, Bill Belichick, offensive line, system.
So let's improve that over the next couple of years, unless you're in love with a quarterback and take that quarterback.
I mean, what's Justin Fields done in Chicago? Zip. Terrible.
Yeah. So that's my take on that. And I understand where you're coming from for sure. And if you love a quarterback, you always take him. It's the most important position. But you don't just force that pick.
We did that in 2019. Look where the hell we are. It didn't help. Chris said it when we started this show years ago. He said if you take a quarterback, might have been the first or second show. He said, you take a quarterback and miss and that early, you're going to set yourself up for failure for years to come. And that's exactly what we did, unfortunately.
And if we do it again and we miss, it's going to be the same thing.
Yuppers.
So they got to be smart. You don't just force a pick.
Yeah.
Matt, man, thank you very much, man. And I mean, that's what the Giants had to do for years, right? Remember, why do you think we got Kerry Collins? It was a stopgap. It was because they didn't feel like they were in the position to draft their quarterback. They didn't love it, and they got their stopgap until they eventually were able to find the quarterback they fell in love with, that being Eli Manning. Matt, man, thank you very much, man. Appreciate all you guys, what you do all the time that you put in. You guys are awesome. Saquon needs to have a huge game. I'm in complete agreement with you in this game, and it's not going to be easy. And I know Saquon's been getting a lot of slack, understandably. The guy's the second overall pick. I'm going to be as fair as I can. The guy is coming off an ACL. He maybe not be quite fully recovered yet, but regardless, he's not producing. Some of it definitely falls on the offensive line. Make no mistake about it. I got people telling me that Devontae Booker's doing such a great job. Devontae Booker's averaging 3.7 yards a carry. Devontae Booker is not much better than Saquon for the year. Saquon's 3.6. And Booker had that one big game against the Raiders. We can't run block. So
I guess the way you look at it is this. Saquon Barkley's numbers can be skewed because he has a lot of – I mean, how many rushing yards did he end up against Philadelphia? 30,
he had one big play. That was
32 of them were on one play.
Yeah.
Well, Devontae Booker gets like 3.7 a carry legitimately, where Barkley gets like 9
he's
a
home runner or a strikeout. He's like Joey Gallo with the Yankees.
Right.
Yeah, he's like that. But I definitely think Barkley is going to have a, and if he gets 2 or 3 big plays, that could be what we need in this game. But Barkley's going to need a couple of big plays in this game, whether it be in the running game or the passing game. I completely agree with you on that because they have a really strong secondary. They're going to be sending tons of blitzes, and I think the Giants are going to have to take advantage of that with draw plays, screen passes, things like that. And I think it's a game that's set up for Barkley to potentially, if Glennon can get the ball out of his hands quick enough, because they're going to be sending the dogs. I think it's a game potentially where Barkley could have a pretty good game.
How about no end arounds or reverses for a 13-yard loss and then a draw play on 2nd and 23?
Oh, my God. I was at the game when they did that. Well, obviously, I was at the game. I could not believe that play call because you got all the momentum. That was right after the McKinney interception.
So stupid.
That was such a horrible play call. Such a horrible play call. I didn't like that. If it was at midfield, I like taking a shot down the field, something like that. But that play just didn't. It was a stupid call.
Yeah, it was a really stupid call.
Richard, man, thank you very much, man. Hope wins. I hope you win Sunday. Suck it up. What's wrong? Can take any more with the New York sports. Somebody do some another year. No sport team suck 65 years. Richard, New York sports have been absolutely dreadful since long before I've been on YouTube. New York sports have been bad. I mean, when's the last time that New York sports were consistently good across the board? The 90s?
Yeah, probably the 90s. The Knicks, the Yankees, the Giants were okay.
The Mets were good, for a spell there for a little bit.
The Rangers were good. I don't know about the Islanders. I don't remember the Islanders were good or
not. The 90s. That was really the last time that New York sports were all hitting on.
The 90s was really good.
Yeah, 80s and 90s. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Ghost TV, what's going on, man? Nate Solder couldn't block my mother. Yeah, I doubt he could. Nate Solder's atrocious, man. I still can't believe that he's out there for the New York Giants. He may be out this week, though. So Matt Parrott may get an opportunity to start. He's questionable. They said he's going to be a game-time decision. The big injury this week outside of Daniel Jones that I actually want to talk about, Baddog, that I think could really, really, hinder the New York Giants defense, Adoree Jackson's out. And you think about the one weapon on that offense that I worry about. No, don't get me wrong. Mike Gesicki's definitely a good weapon, the tight end. But Jalen Waddle, he was a guy that we both loved coming out of the draft.
Yes.
And he's starting to turn it up. He's definitely had a couple of big games for the Dolphins the last couple of weeks. He's got 77 catches, about 750 yards, 4 touchdowns, obviously an explosive playmaker. And we saw what Adoree Jackson did against Tyreek Hill. James Bradbury is the quote-unquote number 1 corner, but Adoree's going to be the guy that you put on that speed guy. And I think they would have lined him up against him. Now, going up against Jalen Waddle, I think, if I had to guess, I think it's going to be Aaron Robinson. I don't think they're going to put Bradbury on him. Waddle lines up a lot in the slot. We'll see. But we'll see. But I think not having Adoree Jackson is a big, big, big hurt for the Giants this week.
Huge loss. He's been really, really good this year. I know his interception numbers aren't jumping off the chart, but he's been great in coverage. He's probably been our most consistent guy in defense this entire year. Bradbury's had good games and bad games. McKinney's really come on here in the last probably 6 weeks, but he was kind of off to a slow start as well. Nobody in our front 7 really does anything to change any kind of doesn't do anything. So he's probably been the best overall for us. And obviously we've had a lot of injuries to this secondary now. There's no Jabril Peppers. There's no Logan Ryan. There's no Adoree Jackson. So
Logan Ryan, I think Logan Ryan's back.
Logan Ryan's come back. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Darnay Holmes, I think, is out too. So we've had a lot of injuries in the secondary. But yeah, he's going to be a big loss. Jalen Waddle had a huge week last week. I know he's on my fantasy team, so I know all about that. Boy, you want to talk about being stuck in a predicament this week with fantasy football? We're literally a half game out of the playoff race. There's 2 weeks left. And we have Daniel Jones as quarterback. You play 2 quarterbacks in our league. So Daniel Jones and Pat Mahomes. But I can't carry 4 quarterbacks because it doesn't allow you to carry a quarterback on the bench in a flex position on the bench.
Right.
Baker Mayfield's the other quarterback. He's on a bye. So what the hell am I doing?
Can you put Jones on the IR and pick up Glennon?
You can't put them on the IR. You can only put them on the IR if they're on the IR. You can't actually use that designation. So that stinks. So not playing a quarterback this week. I'm playing, that's right, Eagle fans, Boston Scott against the Jets. That's what I have to end up doing.
You know what I would do, to be honest with you?
I was going to
it's a league where you could play one quarterback and then you could decide whether it's
we have 2 flex positions.
Okay.
One is tight end, wide receiver, running back. The other one's any offensive position.
You know what I'd be tempted to do, Bad Dog, if there's a quarterback available, especially one better than Glennon? I might drop Daniel Jones because I honestly don't know if he's going to come back and play this year, especially before your fantasy playoffs.
I thought about it, but there really isn't anything because I don't think Glennon's going to give us any points. I think Boston Scott has an opportunity to outscore Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you, and because I don't know what the deal is with Miles Sanders. He's not really healthy either. And then, the other guy, Gardner Minshew got picked up. I mean, I could have went that route too, but again, I don't know. This is a tough week. We find a way to win this one. We're in good shape. But
yeah.
That hurts. The Daniel Jones things hurts. But hey, Jalen Waddle may have a big game.
You're screwed though. You know why? Boston Scott's not playing the Giants.
I know.
Whenever he plays the Giants, you got to start him.
Well, he didn't fumble against us.
No, he always kills the Giants.
All the little squirts kill us. So Jaron Sproles, LaShawn McCoy, Brian Westbrook, they all killed us.
Yeah.
All the
Manny, thank you very much, man. I'm sure this was covered, but how about Judge talking about Devontae Smith and gushing over how good he is? Thought he laid it on. I honestly did not see what he had to say about Devontae Smith, to be completely honest with you. So no, I did not see that, but I'm not surprised. I mean, Judge is going to do what Belichick. We remember when we played the Patriots, Belichick did the same thing. He was gushing over Daniel Jones. He was gushing over all of our players. And he should. I mean, Devontae Smith's a really good player. Like, he should. Devontae Smith's certainly a good player, and I think the Giants obviously wanted him. But I don't take any offense to him, crediting some of the Eagles players. As a matter of fact, sometimes I like that when coaches do that. Maybe you try to get in their head a little bit. But yeah, I don't see any issues with that.
Devontae Smith had a massive one against us, 2 for 22. So I see.
I did a damn good job on him.
Yeah, he did a good job. Again, Joe Judge has the headphones over his eyes, and one of these days he'll learn to put the headset in his ears. That way he won't have to check the tape and he won't have to worry about timeouts. I mean, if he just puts that headset where it belongs, he'd be fine. Joe Judge. Judge. Going to throw him in the river behind me there, Chris.
Kinky says, if Solder is better than Parrott, then why is Parrott playing left tackle when Thomas is hurt? Makes absolutely no sense. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I don't know if it's nonsense. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
That's a great point. Solder is a left tackle. Parrott is a right tackle. So Kinky, that is a great point.
Yeah, people brought that up in the past. I don't know. I don't know.
Coaching, man.
Yeah, especially after what Gettleman said before the year started, how they were going to rely on the young offensive lineman and development, so on and so forth. Matt Parrott ain't getting any development on the bench, not playing. So I don't know, man. I just hope it works out. It doesn't look like Solder. Well, I shouldn't say doesn't look like, but he may not play this week. And if he doesn't, I think we're going to have to see Parrott. So we'll see. But that's a great question, Kinkies. I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. That's something that Joe Judge should be asked. And my guess would be what they would say is they feel like Parrott's better on the left side than Solder, but that doesn't really add up to me because, like Bad Dog said, Parrott played right tackle in college, even though a lot of people thought he could be potentially a better left tackle than Thomas. I remember when we drafted him, but he played right tackle in college. He's played right tackle with the Giants. I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. Duran, thank you very much, man. Maybe Diggs equals Deion Sanders. Yeah, Hody's got I don't know. He's got 9 picks or something like that. Maybe he's definitely a guy that gives up a lot of big plays, but he's certainly a guy that creates a lot of turnovers. He's been I mean, him and
I see
Parsons.
what he did there.
What is that?
That's on pace with the Parsons Taylor thing.
Oh,
So.
well, no. But
that's what he
a
said.
similar type of play style, I will say. He creates a ton of turnovers like Deion did. But yeah,
no, I think that's what.
Yeah, no. He's not Deion Sanders.
I think that's what
it was a joke about Micah Parsons and Lawrence
Taylor. I think
Taylor.
I was a joke about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of his play style, I could see it a little bit. But he's not the talent of Deion Sanders. Goat, man, thank you very much, man. Did you see Adoree Jackson? Yeah, I just talked about that earlier. And let's go Bulls, man. Goat, man, thank you very much. Yeah, that may be just as big. As a matter of fact, I think you could actually argue for this game specifically, that may be a bigger impact than Daniel Jones being out. Like, I feel like him manning up on Waddle would have been so huge for our defense.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see who they put on the outside now, opposite Bradbury. You got Aaron Robinson, maybe Julian Love plays on the outside. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they're really thin at that position after the two starters. Love played on the outside last year against the Cowboys, but I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with that second corner on the outside. But, of course, Waddle, like I said, works a lot in the slot.
Can we bring Eli Manning back for this game? I don't think Eli ever lost to the Dolphins.
Eli can't be worse than Glennon.
I don't think Eli's ever lost to the Dolphins.
Well, yeah, no, I read a stat this week that we've beaten the Dolphins I think the last 4 times we played them or something like that. So you're probably right. His last win came against the Dolphins. I know that.
Yeah.
So wouldn't hurt to get.
The other thing is, I remember getting in I was on a stream and this guy was like, "Oh, Baddog, you said you don't know this stuff because you're not in a huddle." I don't need to be in a huddle to know that. I think a big reason Saquon Barkley has not succeeded is because Daniel Jones doesn't know how to change blocking and get Saquon Barkley into the right position. And you don't need to look any further than his rookie season. And you can say, well, he's had injuries here and there after that. Okay. In 2019, Saquon Barkley had 4 100-yard rushing games. 3 of those were when Eli Manning was the starting quarterback. So, again, I just think, and I mentioned this in 2019, I think that's a thing that is overlooked so much.
Wait. Saquon, 2019?
Yeah. When Eli started 3 games. Remember, Eli started the first 2 games. Barkley had over 100 yards rushing in each of those games. And then against the Dolphins, Eli started again, and Barkley had 100 yards in that game.
Wow.
Eli started 4 games that year.
I did not know that stat.
Yeah. So 3 out of 4 games that he had, the only game that he had over 100 yards that Jones started was the game against Washington.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think I just think that's a big thing is overlooked. I think that is the biggest problem with Jones is inability to read defenses, getting confused,
for sure,
and just hesitating too much.
You see it when you're at the games, man. I'm gonna be as honest as I can. And even when I watch the games on TV, like I forget what play. I remember when we were calling a game last week, or not last week, the week before, where it was a clear option where Jones needed to check out of the run. Like it was like 9 in the box, and I even said it. I'm like, he's got to check out of the run. And he hands it off. He did the same thing against the Eagles a couple of times. It's night and day with that aspect. And I thought that was a very underrated thing that people took for granted when everybody was screaming to take out Eli Manning. Was that aspect of his game that he brings in the offensive line. If you remember correctly, I remember doing a video on this over the first 2 weeks of 2019. Actually, was ranked in like the top 8 in the league. And that was going up against the defense with, not to say that would have continued. I don't think it would have, but that was going up against Dallas, who many thought was going to be a good defense going into that year, and Buffalo, who had a really good defense. And then the offensive line obviously did much worse, which you expect from a rookie quarterback. Right. But we haven't seen a lot of progress.
Yeah, as a rookie, one thing. In your third year, you should be able to check out of things and be able to, change blocking schemes and audibles and all that stuff. You should be able to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. King, man, thank you very much. I don't understand what Joe Judge is watching. I was really high when he first became. Oh, I thought you were saying you were actually high. You were high.
I think Joe judges half the games.
I thought King John was saying I was really high when he first became that coach. No, you were saying you're high on him. So I was so sure we would win a Super Bowl, but now I don't know really. Listen, Super Bowl, I don't care how good of a head coach you are. I don't care. There's a lot of luck that goes at the Super Bowl. So that's never going to be something that I expect. It's going to be something that I want to at least be consistently up, have a shot at. That's what the best teams do. They put themselves in a situation where on a year in, year out basis, they give themselves an opportunity. Similar to what we did with the New York Giants with Eli Manning over the first half of his career. 2005 to 2012, the New York Giants were at least 500 or better with Eli Manning as the starting quarterback. And I think that's what the best teams do. As far as Joe Judge goes, listen, Joe Judge, I'm still not off the Joe Judge train, but I'm definitely not sold on him. And I even said it going into the year. I thought, and I love Joe Judge coming into this year, but I thought that people were hyping him up too much, where if things started to go south, it was going to go south real fast because Joe Judge was getting credit for everything that was going right with the team, and Gettleman was getting the blame for every little thing that the fan base didn't like. I remember reading articles from people before the season started. Oh, they let Dalvin Tomlinson go. Dave Gettleman's an idiot. Oh, they made a really good trade. Joe Judge, how did he? I remember when they traded the kicker, Santoso, and they got a 7th-round pick. I forgot who it was, one of the beat writers, Dan Duggan, man. No, it might have been Dan Duggan, saying, oh, my God, Joe Judge is a genius. And then like a week before when he made a move that they didn't like, he was blaming Dave Gettleman. So I thought that people were propping Joe Judge up way too high. We'll see. I'm definitely willing to give Joe Judge another year. But there's definitely been a lot of things that I've been discouraged with going into in this year in terms of the way that he's coached. The one thing I will say, I guess, from a positive aspect, the drafting and the personnel decisions overall, I do think have gotten better since Judge has gotten here. So some of that, I think you have to at least give Judge credit. I think they work collaboratively. You go back, you look at the 2020 draft. Thomas looks like a good pick. Xavier McKinney looks like a really good pick. Darnay Holmes in the 4th round looks like a pretty good pick. He's been playing pretty good this year. This year, the trade down, we got really good value. Tony, when he's on the field, has looked pretty good. Azeez Ojulari's looked very good. Robinson in limited actions looked pretty good. So I'll say that. But in terms of his in-game decision-making, his timeout usage, it's got to get better. It's got to get a lot better. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, I agree. Again, there's a lot that goes into head coaching, and I just don't think Joe Judge has. Sometimes you're just, like I said, some guys are made for coordinators. Maybe he's good at scouting. Maybe he's good at player, whatever. But as far as developing players and game situations and adjustments, he is not it. He has not proven to be it. We've lost a lot of close games, and again, I believe that goes to coaching. This team has been very undisciplined at times. They've had a ton of unnecessary roughness penalties this year, which they didn't do last year. So it's a lot of little things that end up making us lose a lot of games. I just kind of want to laugh at this one comment. I see somebody, I don't even remember who it said Eli equals washed since 2013, and then somebody agreed and said facts. Let me tell you something. Let me educate you here for a little bit, okay? Since 2013, really, because Eli Manning had his 2 best statistical seasons of his entire career in 2014 and 2015.
He was second in league in touchdown passes in 2015.
Yeah, he had 35 touchdowns in 2015.
Brady was the only guy who had more touchdowns, right. And people give credit to Odell. Are we going to give credit to Devontae Adams for Aaron Rodgers' touchdows? I mean, are we going to give credit to Randy Moss when Brady broke the touchdown record?
Regardless, how can you say a guy's washed when his best statistical seasons came after you just said he was washed? It doesn't make any sense. If you want to say after 2016, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can get on board with that. He really wasn't good after 2016. I can get on board with that. And again, I have mentioned this a number of times. I believe when they fired Tom Coughlin, it took a piece of Eli with him. I'm not saying Eli still wasn't the gamer. I'm not saying Eli Manning wasn't tough and he didn't want to be out there and he didn't want to compete. But I don't care who you are. When you play for one coach your entire career, and there's no doubt he had a love for Tom Coughlin, that hurts. And I think it hurt him. I think it hurt him emotionally, and I just think that he was never quite the same Eli Manning after that happened. And it didn't help that the offensive line continued to suck and Jerry Reese continued to neglect it. That didn't help either.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about Eli. I think the Giant Drew Brees, if you want to say washed, I think Drew Brees was washed over the last 2 or 3 years of his career. The difference was that Drew Brees had a perfect situation around him. The Saints had an incredible offensive line. The Saints had Sean Payton, and he was able to get the job done. If you put Eli Manning on the Saints, not that he's as good as Brees, but do I think he still would have been able to be a good quarterback and win games? Yeah. The Giants failed Eli Manning late in his career. They didn't set him up like the Saints set up Drew Brees.
Right.
That's my take on that. It is what it is. That's in the past. But of course, as Eli got older, he wasn't the same quarterback like most quarterbacks in the NFL.
But he was very good. The only reason we lost the games in 2015 is because our defense couldn't stop anybody. Eli Manning threw 6 touchdowns against the Saints, and we lost anyway because Brees threw 7.
That was a great game, man. That was a great game.
It was a really good game. And then, of course, we had the Patriots beat, And Landon Collins dropped a sure interception. Then Gostkowski kicked a 54-yard field goal. We lost that game, whatever it was, 33-31 or whatever the hell it was. So we lost a lot of games like that. It wasn't Eli's fault. That defense was terrible. The next year they went out, they spent tons of money on the defense, and then the offense, again, that faltered that year. And again, I believe a lot of that had to do with Tom Coughlin not being the head coach. And that was a mistake. The Giants made a mistake. You either fire Reese and Coughlin the same year, you bring Coughlin back if you're bringing Reese back. Should have let Coughlin manage that defense or coach that defense in 2016. I think we would have been a better team in 2016. McAdoo did okay, but I think we would have been better had Coughlin been the coach.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I agree with you on that. John, man, thank you very much. I'll check the tape on that, Bad Dog, and then get back to you. You're right there. We're taking it a week at a time, plenty of football to play. And that's what you can do as fans. Obviously, I know a lot of people think the season's over, and I understand it, being that you're scared Jones is going to be out. We're 4-7. We didn't look great in the win last week. I understand where people are coming from. I'm not giving up on the season yet. We're a game out of the playoffs. I know it's a long shot, but I'm going to enjoy the rest of the season. I mean, we wait so long for it to get here. I'm not going to give up on the team yet. We'll see how they play tomorrow. It's 1 week at a time. If they beat Miami, we'll see. I mean, obviously, you got 2 tough games after that, but 1 week at a time. We'll see how we play against Miami tomorrow. Not going to be an easy game. Nick the Wick, man, thank you very much, man. I'm calling it now fake punt, field goal, or trick play. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, and we say this a lot of the times with the Giants. We haven't seen much of it this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a week that you were going to pull that feather out of the cap with Glennon at quarterback going up against a team like this who you know your offense is going to struggle against. You got to do things like that to think outside of the box. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that, Nick. It's not a bad call by you.
Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes you got to do something to mix it up. I don't know.
And we haven't done that this year. I mean, last year we tried the fake field goal, which it would have worked had it not been for Cam Fleming. But
that worked anyway. The officials just decided to take that away from us. We don't.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. A little fugazi on that call. That was against
the
Falcons.
Yeah, right? little bit.
Richard, man, thank you very much, man, for the $5 donation. I appreciate it. And Brandon Weezer says, I saw a mock where we passed on Linderbaum and got a safety and another corner. I saw that as well. I'd be so mad if we did that. I forget the names of it. Yeah. I
saw that too, the safety. I saw the safety.
I'm going to tell you, I don't care how good the safety is, man, though. If the Giants take a safety.
Yeah, we're safety.
In the top 10. To me, a safety is the least valuable position on a defense.
You don't build from the outside in. How many times we say that?
To me, corners are valuable. You get a lockdown corner, that's valuable. You get but D-line, coverage linebacker. I don't care how good the safety is. I ain't taking a safety in the top 5-6 picks of an NFL draft, especially when you got the needs that we got at more important positions. Ain't taking a safety. I don't care how good he is.
Xavier McKinney. I mean, come on, man. We need line. We need line help bad.
Yeah, they better not take a safety. I don't think they will. I'm not worried about it. But I'd be pissed.
Well, Denman ain't there, so we probably will address the offensive line now. Kobe Dean might be a Giant. Don't be surprised.
I like Kobe Dean. I was watching him tonight. He looks good.
Kobe Dean is a man.
Yeah, he looks good, man.
And in a couple of years, let's get Brock Bowers because that kid is ridiculous.
That's the tight end, right?
Oh God, he's so good, man.
Yeah, he's a freshman, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a freshman. I don't want to draft any tight ends in the first round ever again.
No. Evan Ingram vibes, man.
He ruined it.
But to be fair, you were all about Kyle Pitts this year.
I loved Kyle Pitts. I knew it wasn't really a smart pick for the Giants, but I would have killed for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts killed it. Kyle Pitts can play, man. Wasn't a good pick for the Falcons, though.
Didn't like the pick for the Falcons. Similar to I felt like it was similar to when we took Saquon, where it was kind of like a pick that he might have been the best player available, but that was a team that's in rebuild mode. You got an old quarterback, Ryan to Eli. You got to start thinking about long term with the offensive line or his replacement. They could have taken a quarterback. Obviously, they didn't really love one, but I didn't love that pick for the Falcons. Really good player, though.
Yes, he is.
Donovan, man, thank you very much, man. Speaking of 2015, should have won 11 to 12 games that year.
Yeah.
If the defense was even half if we could have put the 2016 defense on the 2015 roster, they might have won a Super Bowl that year. Might have. I mean,
that offense was high flying. That was a good offense that year.
It was a top 8, 9, 10 defense that year. You put a top 5 defense with that, they would have been really good, man.
They were a good offense.
Yeah.
Which is why 2016 we had such high expectations.
Yeah.
When they made all those signings to the defense. When they picked up Janoris Jenkins, aka Shit Fondue, and they got the nose tackle was Snacks Harrison and Olivier Vernon. The defense was awesome in 2016, but then the offense was kind of meh. So
it was reversed.
Yeah,
which is what always happens with the Giants. When you think something's going to be improved, even though the defense has definitely turned it up this year over the second half, but to start the year, it was not nearly as good as we thought it would be to start the year. Sean, man, very much, man. Leo is having a big game calling it now. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Leo has a big game because I'm going to tell you what, and we haven't talked much about the Miami Dolphin offense outside of Waddle. Their offensive line's not much better than ours. Their offensive line's not good. The one thing I will say about this offense, though, if you look at it, Tua Tagovailoa is 30th in completed air yards and 33rd in intended air yards. So they get the ball out really quick. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see if we're able to get pressure on them. They're going to get the ball out quick. And I think the Giants in this game, Baddog, and we'll see what they do, what the approach is going to be from Graham. Usually Graham plays a lot of zone, and I understand it, right? Especially depending on certain opponents that we go up against. In this game, going up against Tua, with the type of offense they run, getting the ball out quick, I think they got to play some man press in this game. I think they have to be a little bit aggressive getting after the quarterback, trying to disrupt some of those patterns, the timing of those patterns, because Tua's not the type of guy. I mean, Jalen Waddle's his best receiver. He's averaging 9.9 yards a catch. Mm-hmm. Tua's not the type of guy that's going to try to extend the field against you. Now, being that I said that and being that that's what we expect, that's probably what's going to happen. But if I'm the Giants going into this game, I think I'm a bit more aggressive than normal on defense.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well try to get after Tua because, again, I don't think make Tua beat you deep. Like you just said, he's not a guy that throws the ball deep. They don't take a lot of chances on the field. They do get the ball out quick. So, crowd the line of scrimmage, make it congested for those short throws. And, hey, if he can go over the top of a guy, that's why losing Adoree Jackson hurt so bad because that really could have taken that away as well. But I still think you got to take chances. I think the Giants don't – because if we sit in that zone, he will chew us up. He will chew us up 8, 9, 10 yards at a time. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. He's going to sit back there. He's going to get the ball out in a quick slant. It's going to go 7, 8 yards. It'll be second down and 2, and then they can do whatever the hell they want. Who's the running back? Myles Gaskin's right, so they can do it. It's I don't care how good your defense is. It's a tough predicament when you're second down and 3, second down and 2. There's a lot. It puts a lot of pressure on defense because you can pretty much do anything. The entire playbook's open at that point. You want to get them in 2nd and 8. If they complete a short pass, knock them down like that happens to us. We complete a short pass, it's 2 yards. We have to be the aggressors on defense and, make some plays down the field. Yeah. And if he does, he does. But he hasn't shown the propensity to do that so far, so put some pressure on him.
Yeah, and you might get burnt. You might get burnt with a touchdown over the top.
It's a chance you got to take.
Especially with a guy like Waddle. But I think with Miami's offensive line and the fact that they're a team that wants to get the ball out quick, you got to worry about Gaskin coming out of the backfield, of course, as a receiver. I think he's got a good amount of receiving yards. And, of course, Gesicki as well at the tight end spot. That'll be a mismatch. I'm assuming they'll probably put Logan Ryan on him. But if I'm the Giants, man, I'm not playing as much zone as normal against a team like this. I think that's what Miami wants you to play. And Tua has not made a ton of mistakes. And that's kind of what the Giants have relied on. It's not, he only has 10 touchdowns, but they've only turned the ball over twice over the last 3 weeks. That's kind of been the Giants' philosophy is we're going to make you work for your touchdown. You're going to have to go 15, 16 plays. We're going to play a lot of zone. And we're going to bank that you're going to want make one mistake. But going up against a team like this, I think you have to force the mistake. I think you got to play some man press and blitz a little bit, and we'll see if they do that.
Yeah, we haven't really done it all year, but it would be nice to break it out. Another thing I want to mention, and this, again, maybe this does go back. This probably goes back to our coaching staff. Now, I'm not saying Colt McCoy is Jesus or anything, but you notice the difference when we had Colt McCoy and the way we made Colt McCoy play as opposed to the way Colt McCoy's played.
Like 400 yards.
I know Arizona's got better weapons, but Arizona's offensive line is not the greatest. And Colt McCoy has had big games, and he had a bad game, but he had a big. What did he throw for 350 yards or something?
Yeah, he had a big game. I mean, granted, it was in Seattle. He owns Seattle, but still, he had a big statistical game, no doubt about it.
Seattle's defense is pretty good. Still, Colt McCoy does own Seattle.
I just think Colt McCoy does great against them for some reason.
Yeah, but he didn't really have a good game. We ran the ball down the throat.
It wasn't because of him, though. Yeah.
Right, but it was because of him when the Cardinals played him. So maybe that speaks to our offensive game plan in general. Yeah. Because they don't believe in any of the quarterbacks we have. If you believe that, if our coaching staff actually believed in Daniel Jones, and again, people can use Garrett all they want. The offense looked exactly the same. or Freddie Kitchens calls play. It's because it's Joe Judge, man. Joe Judge is one that oversees all that and puts in the game plan. And then he says, okay, go off of this sheet and call whatever plays you want. But we'll see. Again, we're going to know. If we see more shots down the field in this game, if Mike Glennon throws a couple of, 3, 4, 5 passes, 20, 30 yards down the field, then we'll know that Daniel Jones does have that option. Because I can't imagine they're going to go, well, Glennon's in there now. Now let's go with the high-flying aerial offensive tactics with Mike Glennon.
We'll see.
So we never know. I think the game plan will be the same with Glennon in there, and we'll see what decisions he makes.
I just don't think, and we'll see what defensive approach Miami comes out with. But if Miami does what they've been doing, I don't think we're going to have enough time to go deep. They've been sending they blitz 39% of the time. And with our offensive line, I think there's going to be a lot of max protection, much like last week. I think you're going to see a lot of jumbo packages, 2 tight end sets. And I think they're going to be sending the house. And I think we're going to have to get the ball out quick. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the offensive line stands up. And that's one thing I will say. When they send those all-out blitzes, if the offensive line can hold up and you give them a couple of extra seconds, maybe you are able to burn them over the top. There was a play last week, I think when they played Carolina, where they burnt them over the top for a big pass. So, or a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They don't blitz every time. I mean, again, that's why, because they blitz so heavily, that's why at the beginning of the stream I said we should get Saquon Barkley involved in a passing game on some screens, because it nullifies, it holds up an aggressive pass rush. Because all of a sudden, you let those guys get in there, and there's 7 guys in the backfield, and then Barkley's past them with lead blockers, and Barkley's out in space, then you really could get some big plays out of that. Yeah. Then it says, whoa, okay, let's back up a little bit. And that's what I'm talking about, Glennon taking the shots. I'm not talking about like when they bring 7. Obviously, he's going to have to get the ball out. Or if he doesn't have time to get the ball out. But, again, people want to say the offensive line is bad. And it is. Our offensive line sucks. There's no sugarcoating that. It's bad. But my point of contention all the time is it's not like every single time Jones drops back that he has no time every time he drops back. He had a lot of time to survey the field against Philadelphia. And – yeah, he didn't. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he didn't take any shots.
He missed a couple of throws. He missed one. If I'm being fair with Jones, made a couple of really nice plays. But overall, I thought the 2 throws that he made to Golladay in the end zone, there wasn't enough loft on the throw.
Oh, definitely not the first one. The one was terrible.
Yeah, and then I thought that there was another throw over the middle on a slant pattern where I thought he threw behind the wide receiver. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was a big play. I think it was in like the third quarter. But he had a couple of misses in the game. He played okay, but
my God, what a catch that was!
And Abe, man, thank you very much, man. Hutch, Neal, or Linderbaum, who you take if all are there? I think I already answered this earlier. I guess Abe didn't hear it. You didn't have to donate, man. You remember the channel. You must have not heard it, Abe. Baddog said Linderbaum. I said Hutchinson and Neal's like flipping a coin for me, man. I'd probably lean Hutchinson just because I feel like maybe I'm not going to get that high impact of an edge rusher later. With my second pick, I could still probably get a really good offensive lineman. I think the guy from NC State, I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. There's a lot of good linemen in this draft, so I think I would take Hutchinson. But you also got the edge rusher from Purdue, who's pretty good. But I'd probably lean Hutchinson, but I don't know, man. That'd be tough. I don't think Hutchinson's going to be there when we pick, though, so I don't think it's going to be something that I'd have to decide, and then I would go with the offensive line. King John, man, thank you very much, man. Tana and Bad Dog, who would you all pick as the next GM? I mean, people ask me this question all the time. If I had to pick in terms of from an organization, I know a lot of people say Ed Dodds. People bring him up. If I had to pick from an organization, if I got to choose the outsider they were bringing in, it would be somebody either from the Baltimore Ravens organization, because I love the way that they build their football team. They draft as well as anybody. They strongly are heavy with the offensive line, or the Indianapolis Colts. Those are the 2 teams where I really like the way they build their football team, along with the New Orleans Saints. So, in terms of a name, I'm not going to give you a name off the top of my head. What do I think they're going to do? They're not going to do that. I think they're going to hire in-house, or they're going to hire a New England guy. They're going to hire somebody that can work with Joe Judge. I really believe that. And I think that Mara wants Joe Judge to be here for at least another 2 or 3 years to get this thing set straight. And the other thing I'll say, Bad Dog, if they bring in a New England guy and they bring in a guy specifically for Joe Judge, I think it gives Judge an even longer leash, because now you're running this GM for Joe Judge. If you just promote Kevin Abrams, Joe Judge can be fired the next year. But if you bring in a GM from the outside, from New England, and you brought him here specifically to work with Judge ain't getting fired the next year. Judge getting at least another 2 years if you do something like that. So that's my take on that. But I think that's what they're going to end up doing, one or the other.
I hope not. I'm just, again, Joe Judge, I think, is a good talker, but there's a lot left. Again, he mismanages the clock. He mismanages his timeouts. His adjustments are terrible. And honestly, I feel like sometimes these guys quit on him. I feel like sometimes maybe he don't have the locker room. Like that game against the Rams, I saw him quit. I saw them quit. And I don't know. I don't think Joe Judge is head coach material. I just don't.
I understand. I mean, he hasn't done a good job this year. I understand where fans are coming from with that. I just think he's going to be here. And
no, I do too. But yeah. I just don't. I don't.
Just gotta hope he matures as a head coach. He gets better, and maybe he'll learn and he'll grow. And
I also think this. I think Joe Judge should be able to pick his coaching staff.
100%.
I think Joe Judge should not be forced an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator or whatever. I think that Joe Judge is the head coach, and he should be the one to pick a staff. I don't think that should be picked for him. And maybe that's part of his problem, is that he didn't pick these guys, and that, hey, he's got to work with guys that he doesn't want to. I don't really know. Again, I'm not on the sideline, but I feel like if Joe Judge could pick his own guys, he'd probably have better chemistry and a better rapport with those guys, and maybe the game plans would be much more fluid, because the Giants are choppy half the time. Say it all the time, us throwing a 3-yard pass is like pulling teeth. Like, it's so difficult for us to complete a 3-yard pass. It's always congested. It's always contested. We always tackle the ball. It's not coming in the air. It's such low reward, high risk plays that we do. And again, I don't know what's going on with that, but I think Joe Judge should have the right to pick who he wants as his coaching staff.
And the fact that it came out after the fact, and this is me, and this is if the story's true, not everything that you read is true. I made a video on it, but the fact that it came out after the fact that Joe Judge wanted J.C. Garrett fired halfway through his first season with the New York Giants obviously tells you that Mara was heavily influenced the hiring of J.C. Garrett. And it also tells you that if this is accurate, that he also, I don't want to use the word prevented, but he certainly probably strongly suggested not firing J.C. Garrett. You can't do that as an owner. If you're going to trust a guy to be your head coach, you have to allow him to make the decisions. That was screwed up from the start, and you're only setting your coach up for failure. So I agree with you. If Judge is going to be the guy going forward, you have to give him full autonomy. You got to let him pick the coaches. You got to let him make the decisions when he feels like they need to be made. And if that is true, that's a disgrace on John Mara's part, if that's true.
Yeah, listen, it's probably he wanted him fired when they got rid of Colombo. He probably wanted to.
And my guess is, Baddog, it was kind of like, all right, I'll meet you halfway. I'll let you fire Colombo, but you got to stick with Garrett.
And that's my guess. So my guess is he wanted them both gone at that time, because the offense was not able to do anything. And he probably said, okay, we're going to get rid of Colombo. We're going to get rid of. Now, there was rumors that Colombo and Judge got into a verbal altercation and that Colombo threatened him and all this other stuff. And obviously Garrett's not going to do that, because Garrett's a very nice guy. Nobody says anything bad about Jason Garrett. Personality, he's not a guy that's going to make waves. But if that, I don't care what the case is. Let Joe Judge. I'm hard on Joe Judge. I'm hard on that. I'm always going to be harder on the head coach than the coordinator. I'm always going to be harder on a quarterback than anybody else on the team, because to me, they have the most responsibility. They're going to get all the glory when you win. When you win a Super Bowl, nobody's going, wow, 86 Giants, man, that Ron Earhart, what an offensive coordinator. Nobody talks about Ron Earhart.
Nobody talks about Kevin Gilbride. They talk about Eli Manning. They talk about Victor Cruz. They talk about,
They talk about Eli Manning, right? That's what you're talking about in 2007, okay? Nobody's like, man, that Kevin Gilbride, he was amazing. You're talking about Tom Coughlin Tom Coughlin was a fantastic coach. Talking about Parcells. Now, Belichick's different, because Belichick went from being a great defense coordinator to the greatest coach in the history of football. Right. That's a little different. But my point is, nobody really remembers the coordinators, but you always remember the head coach. Nobody really going to remember your wide receivers or like the running back. You're always going to remember the quarterback. Always. You may remember it. If you're a diehard fan, you're going to remember it. But, if I'm an Eagles fan, or not even Eagles fan, say I'm a Chargers fan, I may not remember that Brandon Jacobs was the lead running back for the Giants in 2007, but I'm going to remember that Eli Manning won the Super Bowl. So, Again, the quarterbacks get all the glory. They win MVP 80% of the time. And the head coaches are the ones that go into the Hall of Fame, not the coordinators for the most part, unless they turn into great head coaches. So that's why that's why I'm the hardest on them, because I feel like they shoulder the most responsibility and they deserve it. And I'm also going to give them credit when they deserve it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think, and I know I've been hard on Joe, but Joe Judge should have the ability to pick his own.
Of course, that's the stupidest thing in the world, not to allow your head coach to pick his coaches, if that's true.
That's why John Mara's a problem. John Mara's got to stop.
John Mara's the biggest problem with this organization. Yep. We know that, but that's something we definitely agree on. That's something I think most people in the stream agree on. Unfortunately, I don't see that improving anytime soon. Hopefully it does. Art, man, he says, Joe Judge gave Rob Sale the same advice I gave to, and by the way, Art, man, it was a pleasure meeting you at the Giants game. By the way, Baddog, I'm going to ask you, if you had to guess how old you think Art Vandelay is, what would you think?
Art Vandelay.
Whenever I talk to people in our chats, I say it all the time, like I picture him like, all right, this guy's probably in his mid-40s. This guy's probably 15. What was your initial impression of Art Vandelay? Art
Vandelay, I would have said, was probably in between. I would have said middle 30s to middle 40s.
I thought the same, because Seinfeld reference, right?
Yes.
He's 22. Really smart kid, too. Good kid. I got to meet his dad as well.
That gives me a lot of hope for the future generation that they're quoting that they know Seinfeld. Good on you, Art Vandelay. You're a good kid. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Diehard Giants fan. Got to meet him at the game. It was awesome. Says Joe Judge gave Rob Sale the same advice I gave to a friend. Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
That's right.
Sale does this when talking about Solder. You're probably right. I mean, Sale, his criticisms were blunt. He didn't hold back. He literally said about Matt Parrott, he said he's not physical enough. He basically called him a pussy. And I was like, wow. I'm like, Rob Sale did not hold back. Punches. But yeah, he didn't pull any punches. I was surprised that he was as forthcoming as he was. But that's been the book on Parrott since we got him. I remember in the draft book on him, he wasn't like tough enough. He wasn't physical enough. And that's basically what Rob Sale had to say about him.
Yeah. And
Jeremiah, man, thank you very much, man. He says, still not over last week. Yeah, well, tough loss for you guys. We'll see how you bounce. But if I was an Eagles fan, the one thing, I'd actually be excited this week. And I know, and Jeremiah, I don't know how you feel about the quarterback. I'd be excited that you're getting an opportunity to look at Gardner Minshew, because I really do think Gardner Minshew could be a better quarterback for you guys. And if you look at your schedule, you guys still have a chance to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. You play a soft schedule. So we'll see how Minshew plays for you guys this week. But obviously, it's always tough when you lose to us. I don't feel bad for you, though.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not over last week either. I'm still basking in the glow of beating we are the Eagles' daddies now. We beat them twice in a row. They ain't got nothing for us. We're better than them, and they know it. And the quarterback stinks, and I said he'd be benched this year, and he has been. Yeah, I forgot what the hell else I said, but yeah, I said Hurts can't throw. He can. He stinks. But no, Jeremiah, I think that honestly, this year, I think the Eagles have overachieved. I don't think anybody thought the Eagles would win 5 games all season. A lot of people didn't. I had them going 6-11, but I do feel like they have definitely stepped up and played a lot better, won some games pretty convincingly. I didn't think they'd beat Denver. That was a great win for you guys. And again, you have 3 first-round draft picks going into next year. You're going to know Hurts ain't the guy. You're going to look at Minshew. If he's not the guy, you can go after Russell Wilson with your draft capital and your cap space. So, listen, if you're an Eagle fan, the fact that you've done as well as you have this year with 6 games to play and you have 3 first-round draft, you've got to be pretty excited about your future. Howie Roseman gets a lot of crap from Eagle fans, but I feel like he really turned that franchise around really quickly. Now, you just got to keep Howie Roseman from drafting wide receivers. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Well, Devontae Smith looks pretty good. Devontae Smith looks all right.
Jalen Reagor, like I told you. Eagle fans, just listen to me, please. If you get a guy out of the Big 12, can you just take what I'm saying, that I'm not trying to hate on you, that I just know Big 12 players? And then, it doesn't matter because you can ask Chris, you can ask anybody. Before Hurts was drafted, I was saying he was no good. And I said the same thing about Jalen Reagor. So just stay away from the Big 12. You guys.
No, don't give them ideas.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? Draft, you really ought to take a look at Spencer.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm all kidding aside, I agree with you about Howie Roseman. He's been a guy that I've really been hard on since I've been on YouTube. I actually have come out and said that I honestly, and this is not joking, I think he should be up for consideration for GM of the year with some of the moves that he made this year and how quickly he turned that organization around. And I hate the Eagles. I hate complimenting them. I thought Howie Roseman did a really good job this year. But now going to the joking side, I'm going to be honest with you, Bad Dog. If Howie Roseman is watching this, if Eagles fans are watching this,
Howie's watching. You know he is.
I think the first thing you guys need to do before the end of the year, you've got to, because you got to do it before the salary cap goes up, because you're going to have to pay him more. Get Jalen Hurts under contract. Give him that extension now. I'm talking 10, 12-year contract because he's the goods. Roseman, do what you do, man. I know you love your quarterbacks. Extend that guy. Give him a 10-year extension. Get
what am I talking about? Talking about Russell Wilson. Chris, the Eagle fan, said that Jalen Hurts was the next Russell Wilson.
Well, so I agree with him. I agree with him. Get it done.
By the way, for whatever reason, that just made me think. Remember when we did the Eagles, with the mock draft for the Eagles? How good was that?
Long snapper, punter. Oh, it was great. It was fun,
man. That was awesome.
By the way, if you guys haven't done so, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. More importantly, go on over to Bad Dog Sports. We do this show every week. We'll be over there next week. We're going to be doing the game here tomorrow, and then we'll be back on his channel the following week. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for all the support that you guys always show, man. Bryce says, Chris, I'm not
on a roll right now, man.
What'd you say?
Michigan is dangerous right now. I'm glad for Harbaugh. You know, Harbaugh's had that stigma of the Michigan was a really good team this year. They took the tough loss to Michigan State. Then he had that stigma of I can't beat Ohio State. I can't beat Ohio State. I can't. And he finally got that off of him. And they're going to the playoffs. And I'm telling you right now, Bama looked really good today, but I don't think I'd want to play Michigan. Like Georgia may have to play Michigan, and I know it's a few weeks away, but if I'm Georgia, I am not looking forward to that either. And again, you never know. Kirby Smart can't beat Nick Saban either. I think he's 0-4 against Nick Saban now. So the college playoffs should be pretty interesting. Michigan's playing really well right now.
Yeah, Michigan's been – Harbaugh's done a great job with that program this year. I know he's getting killed for a while, but he did a great job with them this year.
Yeah.
Bryce says, Chris – and by the way, Michigan tidbit, guy that went to my high school is the backup quarterback for Michigan. So that gives me a bigger reason to root for them. He was a 3-star recruit. They signed him last year. I think he's the second or third string quarterback.
Bryce says, my high school is pumping gas in Jersey someplace.
Bryce Kelly says, Chris, I'm not having a good day. I think I tore something near my that sucks, man. I hope you feel better, Bryce, man. Thank you for popping in the stream, man. I hope things get better for you, man. Rest up. Lou says, with DJ out, they have to find a way to break out Barkley. That will hesitate the pass rush. The line can't zone block. It has to be to get to the second level. I mean, I agree with you. Much easier said than done, but and as I said, Bad Dog, and I think as you said, I think the best way to break him out in this game is going to be in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, quick passes, screen passes, getting them out wide, using them in the passing game. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball that effectively in this game. But they could use them in the passing game, screen passes, things like that. Not to completely abandon the run, but I think you're going to struggle in that area. I think they got to get him involved in the passing game.
Yeah, you're not going to have any design quarterback runs with Glennon. One thing I could say is this. Okay. With Daniel Jones, they run him a lot. They ran him a lot against Philadelphia. And these weren't RPOs where he went outside. These were RPOs where he was going in between the tackles, which was extremely strange to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like it really is almost like they don't give a damn about Daniel Jones' well-being. It just seems to me they set him up to fail. Listen, I'm not trying to make excuses for Daniel Jones. You all know about how I feel about Daniel Jones. I don't think he can do it in the NFL, and it's because of this. But I really don't. These coaches, I do feel like they hold him back a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying that it's completely their fault, but some of the things that they call for him, what were we doing? What was it? The quarterback sneak down at the goal line a couple of times. They snuck it with him. I don't know, man. It's some weird stuff. It'll be interesting to see what the hell they do with Glennon. I mean, I'm excited to see Mike Glennon play. Mike Glennon going to save the season no. But I am interested to see exactly what Glennon does behind center and how much of the game, if the game plan changes at all with him there, besides the fact that they're not going to run him because he can't run like Daniel Jones. It'll be interesting.
I'm excited to see what game plan they come up with, man. Duncan says, what deal do you consider for us to trade one of our first-round picks plus whatever else you think is fair for the Lions pick for the top edge? I don't want to trade up in this draft, Duncan. I just don't. You'd have to give up a ton to move up to number one. I mean,
well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, you go back and look at value in terms of trading up to one. You'd have to give up a ton. I mean, I don't have the trade chart in front of me, but you're giving up both first round picks this year if you're doing that. And maybe, or if not, you're giving up a lot to make that jump. And Bad Dog, and I say it all the time, the only way I would ever trade up to that high in the first round of a draft based off the capital you have to give up, it's got to be for a quarterback, and it's got to be for a quarterback that I'm head over heels in love with. I'm not doing it for an edge rusher. Even though I think Kayvon Thibodeau could be really good, I'm not doing that. I'm filling in the needs in this roster. I'm not further damaging my future draft capital. So I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, Hutchinson plays in Michigan. It would make all the sense in the world for him to go to the Detroit Lions, wouldn't it?
It's a good call.
Hometown boy, hometown. Why not?
That's a good call.
Makes all sense in the world. And Michigan just scored another touchdown. All right, I need Iowa to give me 7 points. I got Michigan minus 12 in the over in this game, and the over is 44.5. So
hope you hit it, man.
Yeah, I need a touchdown from Iowa or another touchdown from Michigan.
And Abe says, rumor has it DJ could miss the rest of the season. Yeah, we'll see. That's kind of a loose rumor, but then Judge didn't really put any water on the fire this week when he didn't say that he is, but he said it's like a week-to-week basis. What impact on keeping him going forward and draft options? Heard it on the WFAN, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm sorry. He might be out for the rest of the season. What impact on keeping him going forward? Oh, are you asking what impact is that going to have on keeping him going forward and draft options? Yeah, I mean, here's what I'm going to say, Abe. It's what I said at the start of the stream. As far as Jones goes, this is a pattern now. You can't defend this anymore. And it definitely has to do with the fact that, I mean, most of his injuries, when you watch it, it's because it's when he's running. I don't think he's gotten hurt when he's in the pocket. He got hurt running against the Packers. He got hurt last year, I think, when he was running as well against Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. And he got hurt again running against Philadelphia last week. So the guy doesn't know how to get down and slide. It's been a problem since he's entered the NFL. You got to be fair as a fan in evaluating him. That's been a problem. And I think at a bare minimum, as an organization next year, if the Giants are not going to draft a quarterback, which I'm completely on board with, I'm fine with bringing Jones back for a fourth year. But I think you have to bring in a much better backup. You can't have Mike Glennon backing up Daniel Jones next year. It's almost like with Jones bad, though, going into next year, you have to be like, he's going to miss at least 2 games. Yeah, and if we're going to be a team that wants to win, we got to have a guy that could come in here and we could really trust to win his football games, and a guy that could compete with Daniel Jones potentially to even win the job. And I'm not saying I'm rooting for that, but a guy similar to what Denver did with Drew Lock this year. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater going into training camp. It was a battle. People said Drew Lock versus Bridgewater. You got to bring in a better backup next year. That's my opinion on the situation.
I agree, and this is also why we have got to fix this offensive line, because our quarterback gets hurt. So stop, protect him, give him a chance. Stop getting it. He gets killed because Nate Solder can't block anybody. And even when Jones is able to get rid of the ball, it seems like he's getting knocked around. I mean, you get knocked around enough, you're going to get hurt. I don't care how young or how good a shape you are. All these other guys are young and in pretty good shape too. You get hit by a 300-pound lineman, it hurts. I don't give a damn how young you are, how strong you are. It's going to hurt after a while. So if the fact that he has now missed time in 3 straight seasons with injuries tells you maybe hello, McFly, protect the damn quarterback no matter who it is.
That should be the game plan of it. I love when I get in arguments with fans on Twitter. Like they like argue against like that you shouldn't improve the offensive line. That should be the objective for every team. Like having a strong offensive line makes everybody on the offense better. And it's something that the Giants right now, you look at this line right now, Bad Dog, there's only one lineman that I trust. The other 4 could go.
Andrew Thomas.
That's it. And
it's Gates if he's healthy.
But I'm not banging on Nick Gates at all. The guy had 7 surgeries to his leg.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell he's going to be when he comes back.
So. Yeah. I'm saying when he was healthy, when he was
healthy, he was decent. But they got to definitely fix this offensive line this offseason.
Absolutely. If there was ever a way to get Neil and Linderbaum in his draft,
we'd be in heaven. We'd be in hog heaven, Bad Dog.
Hog heaven, baby. And I'm not even a guy that dreams about hogs like Chris. But I would be dreaming about that if that ever came. That'd be a dream come true.
For sure, man. King Josh says, will that be a good or bad thing for the New England GM for the G-men? If they bring in the New England GM, I mean, I am not in love with that. As I said when I was talking about it, I would, if they're going to do that, I even prefer an in-house hire before doing that because I think it gives Judge a longer leash. But at the same time, obviously, I'm going to hope that Judge works out. He's the head coach of the football team. I'm a guy that likes continuity. I mean, it would come down to Joe Judge, really. I mean, in terms of him being a head coach, can he progress and become better as a head coach? And like Baddog was saying, maybe if they give him the freedom to actually bring in the OC that he feels is necessary to run this offense, the scheme that he wants, maybe things can flourish and get better. I definitely think he's a smart guy. He's inexperienced. There's things he does in the game where you scratch your head. But hopefully he matures as a head coach. I'll say that. But yeah, I mean, if they bring in a guy to work with Joe Judge, it's going to come down to whether or not Joe Judge could progress as a head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, again, I Joe Judge, to me, what I expected, I know Joe Judge took over a rough situation. And again, the fact we were 5-3 in our last 8 games and everything we did in the offseason, I expected to see improvement with the Giants this year. And Michigan just picked it off inside the 40. So that's going to touchdown, Michigan, please. And I lost money on that damn Bama Georgia game today, so I got to get that back. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Joe Judge we didn't improve. I felt like we regressed as a team. And again, we pretty much brought all the same people back. We had the same coaching staff. This was the second year under the system. We brought in Kenny Galladay. We drafted Kadarius Toney. I get that Tony's had a weird goings here with the Giants with the COVID. His grandma passing away. He held out of a camp for a little bit there until his contract was signed. Then he's hurt with an injury. Then he comes back. Then he's hurt again. But I don't know, man. I felt like this team would have been better. And I know we've won some games, but we haven't destroyed anybody. Like, we haven't blown anybody out. Like, I wanted to see that. We should be able to beat the Falcons. We should have been able to beat lesser teams, more than we did. We should have been able to blow out Washington. Although
I think we should have blown out Atlanta.
Heineke's pretty good. I got to give Heineke credit. And Tony Gibson's pretty good running back. McLaurin's really good. So Heineke's better than I thought he'd be. But I still feel like we should have beat Washington.
I don't know if I want to use the term blowout, but I definitely think we should have beaten the Falcons comfortably. Right. And we lost to them.
Oh, like 10 points. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Possession.
Yeah. And it is what it is, man. Jeremiah says, you two would be perfect citizens if you chose your football team, right? Much love, gents. Appreciate it, Jeremiah.
Appreciate it, Jeremiah. But nobody's perfect.
We think the same thing about you, Jeremiah. You chose the wrong team. If you were a Giants fan, you'd be perfect in our eyes, man.
Yeah, I tell that to Johnny Letourneau all the time. Like, you're a great guy. You root for the wrong team. That's the same thing I do, Jeremiah. But listen, I say this all the time. Some of the best supporters Chris and I have are from the Eagles fan base. And as much as I pick on the Eagles, and I always will, because I hate the Eagles, you hate the Giants, it's all out of love. There's something special about the NFC East rivalries. We're the best division in the history of football. We're the only division that's had every one of the teams in the division win a Super Bowl. It's about time you got there, Philadelphia. God knows it took you long enough. We have the most of any. We played in almost a quarter of the Super Bowl. We played in more than a quarter of the Super Bowls. We won almost a quarter of the Super Bowls. This is a damn good historical division. So it's always a lot of fun. The trash talk's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good fans out there that root for the Cowboys.
Hold on. I got to take this picture, Baddog. I'm taking that picture, Christian. He said, screenshot this. Daniel Jones will win a Super Bowl. You got it, Christian. I just took the picture. And if he ever wins a Super Bowl, I will make a video. I will put your name in the title, and I will say Christian Okoye is a genius. He said that Daniel Jones was going to win a Super Bowl. So you got it, man.
Yeah, I think maybe Steve Atwater hit you a little too hard.
I hope he's right. And
if he wins a Super Bowl, it won't be for this organization.
VT Jake, man, thank you so much, man, for the hype super sticker, man. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for being such a great supporter. And the RZA is in the chat from the Wu-Tang. He says, dump Jones, draft the O-line and edge, Bryce Young 2023. Listen, if they get Bryce Young, I've watched that guy play before this. I'm a big fan of Bryce Young. I've talked about him before on the channel. He was ridiculous today. Obviously, he had a great – the offensive line was incredible for Alabama, but regardless, you're going up against Georgia. That defense, that guy's a special talent. The problem is I don't think we're going to have the first pick. And you could say trade up for him. If a team needs a quarterback and they have the first pick and they like him as much as we feel most teams will, I don't see them trading out of it. So
yeah, unless they've had a quarterback, and then sometimes it doesn't matter. But look at if Detroit had the first pick this year, or if Bryce Young came out this year, they would have taken him.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Peter, man, they were much. I would trade up for Bryce. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I mean, if you can, but it's kind of like Andrew Luck, right?
I would have traded up for Kyler Murray too. I said that we couldn't.
Yeah, but like when there's a team that needs a quarterback and there's a no doubter, they're not. You could give up the world for them. They're not trading out of it. They're going to just take.
I'm saying Arizona actually drafted a quarterback the year before, and they still took Kyler Murray.
Yeah. And I think he'd be one of those guys. If a team needed a quarterback, and more often than not, when you're picking first, you could use a quarterback. I don't think we're gonna be able to trade up to get him unless we're picking first. But
I'm looking at Aiden Hutchinson. He's got some great moss up there. He does.
He's a great player.
That's a little Bosworth type haircut there, the Boz, a little bit.
I can see that. He's a damn good player, man. I watched him against Ohio State last week. He's legit. Juicy says, if it was available, I'd bring in Sam to back up Danny's talent level. Are you talking about Sam Darnold? Say they're about the similar, and he'll probably not cost much if the Panthers cut him. I don't know what his contract. Yeah,
I don't know his contract.
Yeah, I mean, maybe whatever. I would. Okay, that's fair. He's an upgrade over Glennon for sure.
Now that's true.
I don't see them doing that, though. I don't even know what his contract details are. Well, this is his, 4th year in the league? And I'm assuming they picked up the 5th-year option. I could be wrong on that. Maybe they didn't. Let me see his contract real quick. I'll let you know. Sam Darnold contract. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I'm as a backup, I'm fine with that. Let me see. Sam Darnold has a –
That's Michigan.
He's under contract. Yeah, he's not leaving. He's got a dead cap at next year of $19 million. They extended him on the 5th year. He ain't leaving. He'll be with Carolina next year. So that ain't gonna happen. And I guess Michigan just scored.
They did. It's gonna be 42-3.
Mike, man, they were much, man. Need at least 2 offensive line starters or draft is a failure. I'm with you. At least 2. And if you get them in the 3rd round, that's fine. But they got to find 2 good starters in this draft. Obviously, I want 1 for sure in the 1st. But I'm with you, man. That has got to be the objective going into this draft. We got 4 spots right now that need to be filled, as far as I'm concerned. So you got to plug them. And I would like to get a bookend tackle. I'd like to get a right tackle. That way we don't got to worry about it for the next 10 years, hopefully. If you got Andrew Thomas and, say, Evan Neal on the other side, you got Matt Baird as the swing tackle. That's got to be the objective. And, of course, I'd like to get a guy like Linderbaum, if possible, but somebody on the interior, because we're obviously very weak there as well.
I agree, Mike. I'm not the biggest lineman guy. I'm a defensive guy, as most I wanted Isaiah Simmons. I wanted Micah Parsons. I am a defensive guy. It's just because I grew up in the 80s, and that's always been the staple of
I don't think most people are offensive line guys. I think most
people. I know, but I'm saying I'm more of a defensive guy than an offensive guy. But there is no doubt, this offensive line really, really, really needs to be fixed. Because listen, perhaps Daniel Jones does go to a different team, and he figures it out behind with the offensive line. Maybe he does. Maybe he becomes a really good quarterback, and then we could say, well, hey, we wasted his career. Okay, or he wasted his career, the first part of his career with the Giants. But we set Daniel Jones up to be crappy. He never had a.
That's not even a debate, by the way.
It's not.
I definitely understand people think Daniel Jones sucks. I can't even argue against it right now.
He makes a lot of mistakes, but we didn't help him out.
And I definitely understand people who think he could be good if he had a good supporting cast, because we don't know, because the Giants set him up to fail. And that's not even a debate. And I think the goal. And I'm at the point now where I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be the long-term answer. I really never thought he was going to be the long-term answer. No. I was hoping that he could grow into that, but I was never sold on him being the long-term answer. I thought he'd be improved this year. Hasn't worked out. Some of that's the line. Some of that's certainly him. But the goal has to be to set up the next guy, if Jones is not going to be the long-term answer, to be able to succeed with this football team. And that has got to be the objective. So I agree with you, man. You got to fix that freaking line.
Yeah. Whoever that we talk about all the time, whoever the quarterback is in 2023, because it isn't going to be Daniel Jones, needs to have a shot. You can't bring in a rookie quarterback and he's getting blasted on a consistent basis. It ruined David Carr's career. It's ruined a lot. It ruined Sam Darnold's. No, I never thought Sam Darnold would be good anyway. But again, it's not like the Jets did him any favors. And it's tough. There's not many rookie quarterbacks that come into the league with a bad offensive line. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence having a bad year. Does that mean Trevor Lawrence is going to be no good? Of course not. But I'm just saying it's tough for these young quarterbacks to come into the league where your offensive line really does not protect you. And it really can hamper your development. So, but by year 3, you should be able to figure this stuff out, which is why I'm like, no, he's not the guy. He hasn't been able to figure it out. He's never developed, in my opinion.
Maybe he'll be the guy. I mean, if we end up moving on from him, I'm going to root my ass off for Daniel Jones. He's a good guy, and I hope that he's successful somewhere else. But I'm at the point now where I don't. Even if he does progress as a quarterback, the timeline's not going to match up. We're not going to have a good enough supporting cast to get to the point where we're starting to really win football games. Where it's going to, in my opinion, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we win the Super Bowl next year. And it's not. Maybe we will. I don't know. But. Yes. Realistically speaking, I just don't think it's going to get to the point where that we're going to be able to give him that contract extension. So I'll wish him nothing but the best. I hope he progresses as a quarterback wherever he ends up. Prison Mike, man, thank you very much. How good was Evan Neal today? I mean, that whole offensive line was ridiculous. But yeah, he was great.
The fact that they were able to shut down that, or keep that Georgia defense at bay today was unbelievable.
Yeah, Evan Neal was the whole offensive line though was ridiculous.
Because Bama has been a terrible running team. I think they were 10th in the SEC in rushing. I believe they outrushed Georgia. Bama played the best game of the year by far in that game against Georgia. They got up for that game.
Yeah, for sure. And Buck Josh says, let's get some damn hogs in the draft and give Daniel Jones one more year. I'm not giving up on him. 4th year might be his – hey, Buck, man, listen, I'm never going to tell people how to root for their team. And you know what? I hope you're right, man. And I'm going to tell you what. If they bring Jones back for a 4th year, I'm a fan of the team. I'm going to root my ass off for Daniel Jones. And I'm going to hope – that he progresses and becomes that great quarterback. I definitely have my doubts, but I'm going to hope and pray that he does. And I'm going to root my ass off for him. And I don't blame anybody that has given up on him or anybody that hasn't. I'm going to hope that you're right next year. And by getting the offensive line, it does deliver magic if they elect to go that route. But one thing that we certainly do agree on, Buck Josh, is getting hogs. And I think Bad Dog certainly agrees on that as well, whether it's to benefit Jones for 1 year or for the future or to benefit the next quarterback that we ultimately bring in.
And I just want to give a shout out to
I saw that. I was about to shout him out as well.
Maybe the best content creator that I watch.
He's awesome.
That's Knicks Fan TV. I mean, this guy's amazing. This guy's on a golf course interviewing John Starks, my favorite player of all time. This guy destroys Max Kellerman every time he gets together.
He's awesome. I love
He is the freaking man. So shout out to Knicks Fan TV. If you guys are Knicks fans, basketball fans, you need to subscribe to Knicks Fan TV.
And he's been going through, we think we're going through hell. I mean, we are. The Giants have been just as bad as the Knicks, if not worse. Well, at least the Knicks gave us a decent year.
Well, the Knicks have been bad for.
But yeah, I mean, he's been going through it even longer than we. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan too, so I know, but. He does exclusive Knicks content. Yeah. So he's been going through it just as hard as we have, man. So thank you for popping in, CP. He's awesome, man. Great guy. Yeah. Sean says, I actually met Flores when he was with New England. He's a really cool guy. Hope we beat the team bad, of course. Yeah, I mean, Flores seems like a good guy. Every time I watch his media clips, he seems like a really nice guy, a cool guy, a down-to-earth guy. And we didn't really talk about that during the stream. I think the biggest storyline going into this game, Bad Dog, is the familiarity between the coaches. We basically have all of his old staff, Flores' old staff. We've got his former defensive coordinator. We got his former quarterback coach, Judge coach with Flores. So I'm really interested to see the impact that has on this game, how much they know one another. I think my guess is going into this game, I think it's going to kind of be like, to try to compare it to something else, I think it's going to kind of be like a boxing match where it starts off slow, where they're feeling each other out. Because I really feel like these two coaches, they know each other really well and what they're going to bring to the table. But I think that's a really good, interesting point by him coming into this game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, familiarity. I mean, a lot of times that helps. It definitely helps if you know what your your opposing head coach likes to call, what they like to do, know their game tendencies. Now, we'll see if our head coach can figure that the hell out, but hopefully he can. Hopefully they make a game plan around it.
For sure. And Lib Hunter says, Mariota from the Raiders is who I want. He wouldn't be a bad backup at all. He's kind of the type of guy maybe like a Tannehill, where if he gets put in the right spot, not that the Giants are the right spot, but he's that type of guy where I think if he gets put in the right spot, maybe he could have a resurgence in his career. I'm not a huge Mariota guy, but he's certainly capable of being a very good backup. Chizola, man, thank you very much, man. I could never doubt Saban and Belichick, masterminds. Two best coaches in my lifetime.
Definitely.
I mean, and Joe Judge learned under both of them, and we're hoping that it translates. But so far,
we don't know. He hasn't mastered his mind yet.
Yeah, just want to shout out Knicks Fan TV again, man. I was able to pull him up there. Definitely go over there, check out CP. He's doing the Lord's work over there, talking New York Knicks basketball. He's got a great channel over there, and I appreciate you for popping in, man. Listen, I've been calling the game, CP, as you probably know. This team, man, the Knicks, I can't even start to talk about this basketball team, and they are pissing me off. The starting lineup has been atrocious this year. They play no defense. I don't know, man. I don't even know where to start with that team. Julius Randle's regressed. R.J. Barrett's regressed. I mean, my God, what is positive about this team this year based off what they built up? And, we'll see. I want them to get the rookies some time, man. I want Grimes to get some time on the court at this point. Give them some exposure because the starting lineup ain't getting it done. And I know that Thibodeau came out after the game today and said they're going to make some changes to the lineup, and we'll see, man. But definitely been an underwhelming start. On a positive note, CP, and I'm sure that you've said this to your subscribers, the Knicks did start, I think, 9-13 last year. And this year, we're kind of on them a lot more because they're coming off a successful season. They're 11-12. I'm not making excuses for them. It's definitely been underwhelming. It's definitely been super, super frustrating. But hopefully they put it together. Hopefully Thibodeau gets them in gear. But definitely been a slow start for the New York Knicks this year, man. But CP,
actually, the Knicks started off 5-1. They're 6-11.
No, I'm saying last year. Last year they
started. No, this year I'm saying they.
5-1 to start the year. Yeah.
But this is when people ask me about the Knicks moves in the offseason, I kind of thought they went laterally. I was not a big fan of the Kemba Walker signing. I thought they overpaid for Fournier, and I said that I felt like the Bulls and the Heat got a lot better. And that people wouldn't be surprised by the Knicks. I feel like the Knicks kind of overachieved last year. I don't know where the hell the defensive intensity went. And Randle got paid. And sometimes when guys get paid, is that fire real? And I'm not questioning. Randle's not big in big spots this year. And he wasn't big in the playoffs last year either. So Alec Burks has been the guy that's been the clutch guy for the Knicks.
Well, the other thing about Randle, and then we're going to get back to the Giants, but the other thing about Randle that it infuriates me to no end is they don't set him up well in the offense. I mean, the guy dribbles the ball up, he bobbles it off his knee. Like, the guy shouldn't be handling the basketball as much as he does. And today, he only turned it over one time, but there's games where he turns it over 7 times. It's like, and we need a point guard. I mean, Alec Burks is not a real point guard. That would certainly help. But
how do they start Derrick Rose?
Yeah. He's the closest thing we have to a true point guard, but we need a better one.
Hey, they haven't had a point guard in my lifetime outside of Mark Jackson that was any good. So
yeah. And Joe Santiago, I wanted to read this. He says, "I'm waiting for an answer with exclamation points. If it's all about Super Bowls and championships, why do the Packers want to keep Aaron Rodgers and pay him $200 million?" I'll answer that for you easily. Because he gives them a very good chance to win a Super Bowl. That's why. He may not win them all the time. He's only got one. They go to the NFC Championship game every year. Aaron Rodgers puts the team on his back. If Aaron Rodgers go on any team in football, he's going to give you a better chance to win a Super Bowl. The reason he hasn't been winning them is a lot of it's not his fault. I mean, you look at what the Packers have surrounded him with. I mean, their defense has been horrible. He's never thrown a touchdown to a first-round wide receiver in his entire career. But Aaron Rodgers gives them a better chance to win a Super Bowl. What kind of question is that, my man?
Yeah, hard to disagree. It is about the quarterback that gives you the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. He has won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, he's run into Brady. He's run into, when his defense fails him a lot of time in the playoffs. But Aaron Rodgers is like the best quarterback in terms of talent. He's one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the sport right now. Man, dude, you didn't have to do that, Knicks fan, man. I definitely want to come. I mean, I'm not trying to invite myself on your channel. You come on, talk Giants with me as well. But I definitely want to talk New York sports with you in the future, man. I love you, man. You know that. I've talked with you off air. I think you got a great channel. I love that you got CP on the channel now, too. Not CP, rather. JD. I think JD's a great guy. I've had him on my channel before, too. And I'm glad that he's getting some exposure on your channel because he deserves it. JD Sports Talk's a really good channel. He says, "I'm here, fellas. Stand up. Man, I'm soul searching. Knicks underwhelming. Giants no man's land. Yankees not signing anyone." I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Mets fan, so I don't feel bad for you there. Build the trenches. Trade Saquon. Don't let Mara hire anyone. Mara should have no say in terms of anything with this team. Period. End of story. He's the biggest problem with this team, no doubt about it. Saquon's not a part of the future of this team. If you get something decent for him, I think the Giants are going to do it. But I don't, at this point, what are you going to get for him with all the injuries that he's had? But I'm with you, man. I'm at the point now where I think you got to start thinking about the future, and we'll see. You got to build those trenches. I know you always agree with that as well. Build those trenches and start setting this team up the right way. As far as your Yankees goes, Baddog, I saw you had a Yankee podcast. I listened to it for about 20 minutes or so, being that I'm a Mets fan. But you guys, I mean, it's still early. There's still a lot of guys out there. You got the strike. Hopefully when things get back, Yankees make a couple moves. But you guys have done nothing so far. The Mets have been, bargain shoppers. The Mets have been going, well, not bargain shoppers. The Mets have been just shopping, spending whatever it takes to bring guys in. The Yankees have been silent.
Yeah. Well, I agree. The last sentence Zix Fan TV had there, build the trenches, trade Saquon, and let Mara not make any decisions. Completely agree with all that. Yeah, the Yankee podcast was fun, man. I brought in another paisano, another New York guy, and obviously we're very fired up. And we don't like the fact that they brought back Boone or Sanchez. We think that's just absolutely terrible. Perhaps they tendered Sanchez just to trade him, which is what we're hoping happens. And we gave Steve Cohen credit. I mean, we as Yankee fans, we appreciate that because Steinbrenner would do that all the time. We were talking about do you really think that the Mets would be able to sign all these guys without the Yankees making one move? Do you think Steinbrenner really would have allowed Max Scherzer to go to the Mets? He would have said, I'll give you $50 million. The Mets ain't taking you from me. Cohen and Steinbrenner would have gotten bidding wars. But Hal, he's a cheapskate. Then he's like, well, I want to lower the luxury tax, and I want to just pinch penny here. Listen, people are like, oh, the Yankees don't pinch pennies. Look at their payroll. Man, the Yankees got rid of Luis Cessa to dump salary. When the hell have you ever heard about the Yankees dumping salary? Come on. Yeah. Most of our contracts are Garrett Cole, Aroldis Chapman, and Giancarlo Stanton. They're going to have to pay Judge.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do when the lockout's over. There's a lot of talk about the Yankees trying to get Cedric Mullins from Baltimore. I would love Cedric Mullins. We'll see what they do.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Yankees do, but I don't feel bad for you guys because as a Mets fan, I went through this for 20 years. I saw it's time, and I think the biggest difference with the Yankees right now, before when George was there and when he's not, the Yankees used to do everything in their power to win. Now they do everything in their power to make a profit. Yeah, that's what the Yankees have become. They become more about the bottom line than making the fans happy. I mean, let's be real. I mean, the Yankees have only had one off season, since George left, where they went balls to the wall in terms of bringing in guys to put that team over the top. And they've kind of been, not to say that they don't spend money, but they haven't been the same Yankees, when George was there.
No, I mean, the Yankees spend $250 million on players. I think they make $700 million in revenue or something crazy like that. So he's just looking to make money.
And Adrian, man, thank you very much, man. Give Jones 4th and pick up the 5th-year option. We'll talk about that in a second. If they got to rebuild, how does it hurt to build that lineup for the next quarterback? Downside to that is the good defensive players are going to need to get paid or be gone by then. Here's my issue. I don't know. Maybe I'll be convinced otherwise. I don't know how you can commit $22 million to Daniel Jones next year. Now, the Jets did it with Sam Darnold. No, they did. Yeah, they must have, right? Because before they traded him, or maybe the Panthers did. I don't know. Maybe the Panthers did it after they got. I don't know how that worked out. The Browns did it with Baker Mayfield. Maybe the Giants will elect to do it. I don't know. I'm leaning that I would not. Here's what I'll say. I would bite the bullet. This is the way I look at this scenario, Baddog. If they bring Jones back, I understand it. If you're not in love with the quarterback, like we've said, you want to fix the offensive line, you want to think about the quarterback of the future potentially, unless Jones takes a monumental leap. But if Jones does take that monumental leap, I would bite the bullet and pay him the extra $20 million on that first year to give him the extension if he becomes a top 5 or 6 quarterback. I don't want to commit another year to Daniel Jones and $22 million on the 5th-year option. If he proves me wrong, and he kind of like Leonard Williams did, and he goes out there and he bowls out, and I have no choice but to keep him, I'll pay him the money. I'll bite the bullet on that 1 year. I don't want to give him that $21 or $22 million commitment on the 5th year before that 4th year starts.
That's what the 5th year is for. You give a guy 4 years to prove himself, and if he doesn't prove it by year 4, you let him walk. Now, Daniel Jones had already proven himself. Say last year he threw, he had a statistically, his rookie season is pretty good, even though he had more bad games than good games. There's 3 really good games that kind of skewed his statistics, which I've talked about before, how you take that 13 touchdowns, no interceptions away, you take those 3, the rest of his career has been to below average. But if he had come out last year and he threw for 4,300 yards, he threw for 37 touchdowns and 11 picks, and the Giants won 11 games, and you go, okay, we're definitely signing him, because obviously, as you know, the market continues to go up, and you would have wanted to get him locked up if he showed that he could be the guy, that he was an absolute. Kyler Murray, you think the Cardinals aren't going to pick up Kyler Murray's 5th-year option? They haven't done it already.
They're not going to extend them. They may extend them before, but yeah.
Right, they could do that too. But I'm saying by that point, if they're really, really good, you can make the move. But if they're kind of where Jones is, where it's purgatory and, okay, maybe the line ain't good, yeah, Jason Garrett, blah, 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 and you're going to give him a 4th year, that's fine. You're going to try to fix everything you can. And if you can't do it next year, you're like, okay, we're not going to pick up the 5th-year option. So that's why they have 4 years. The Giants picked up Saquon's 5th-year option because you didn't know what Saquon was going to be, and it was only $7.2 million. That's not $21 million or whatever Jones is going to get in a 5th-year option. So they can afford to do it with Saquon. You can't really afford to do it with a quarterback. And again, I don't think Joe Judge wanted him. So I don't think Joe Judge is going to keep him. I don't think he's going to be here for a 5th year, unless, like you said, he blows us away next year. Which, he probably won't.
And if he does, I bite the bullet and I give him the extension and whatever. I would have had to pay. I'll gladly do that. If he proves to be a top 7-8 quarterback, okay, I made a mistake. I should have given him the 5th-year option on 20. But the way I look at it, Bad Dog, is this. If he would have done that anyway, you're probably extending him anyway. He's probably not going to – if he has that type of year, he's not going to play in the $21 million. Even if you did it, he'd want an extension. He'd want a further commitment the following year. So the way I look at it, I'm not committing another year for sure with Daniel Jones. He's got to prove that he can start winning football games. Period, end story. And if he doesn't, you got to reset the rookie clock. Not everything in the NFL is fair. I mean, it's just not. And Steve says, if we have an O-line, we're talking about one of the best deep ball. Steve, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, because if I'm being fair, we haven't had a good O-line yet. So hopefully that's true. I'll say he does throw a good deep ball. He does throw a nice deep ball. And maybe if he does have a good O-line, maybe he will flourish. I don't know. I haven't had evidence of having a good O-line on a consistent basis. Let's give it to him. Let's see. But I'm not giving him that 5th-year commitment until I start to see him winning football games and improving as a quarterback.
The one question I'd like to ask people that just blindly defend Daniel Jones and say, hey, it's everything but Daniel Jones. This is, and be honest with yourselves. You don't need to answer in the chat. Whatever. Be honest with yourself. If Daniel Jones was playing this way for the Philadelphia Eagles, would you be talking about how, oh my God, Daniel Jones is so good, he just doesn't have any weapons in Philadelphia? He fails in Philadelphia because they don't have a good offensive line. He fails in Dallas because the number 1 wide receiver is hurt, because they have no running game. Would you really be defending Daniel Jones if he played for the Dallas Cowboys, saying, man, this kid is a baller. You just got to give him some weapons? Think about that for a second. If Daniel Jones was playing this way for another team, would you still think about him the same way that you do because he's a New York Giant? This is the way I look at all of our players, which is why I'm hard on them, because I don't look at them. Yeah, they're Giants, but I look at them as individual players and say, God, if this guy was somewhere else, would I be quick to defend him? Probably not. You know what I mean? So it is. I feel like if Jalen Hurts was here, which a lot of Giants fans say Jalen Hurts sucks, and he does, but if Jalen Hurts was a Giant, we'd probably be saying the same thing.
Listen, man, I don't disagree with anything that you said. At this point, Jones hasn't shown enough for me to be like, yeah, we got to give him a 4th year. And again, it's not all his fault. I definitely agree with some of the things that people have to say when they defend him. I agree with a lot of things that they say. But even if you feel like he could overcome it with a better supporting cast, unless he gets that, you can't give him that second extension.
No, definitely not.
You can't. You can't commit to that second salary. So we'll see if they elect to stick with Jones another year. As a Giants fan, I'm going to hope and pray he takes that monumental leap. But if he doesn't, you got to be willing to cut that cord, man. That's just the nature of the NFL.
The Giants, it's not like I root against Daniel Jones. I don't ever want to root against Daniel Jones, man. I want Daniel Jones to put up big numbers. I want Daniel Jones to win games. I want the Giants to win games. I'm sick of losing.
This I agree with, by the way, Vin. I agree with that. I think most quarterbacks should have better stats when they have a better offense.
No, I agree with that too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Yeah. But, we'll see. We'll see if he's even back as the 4th year. I'm leaning that he probably will be. We'll see if he can take that leap, but he's got to do it.
But that's why I want to address the offensive line. and give Daniel Jones a good offensive line next year, and then we'll know. Because, hey, maybe it is. Maybe if the Giants do get 2 good offensive linemen to go with Andrew Thomas, and all of a sudden the offensive line is top 15, top 12, and it figures its way out the way Dallas's did, and he becomes a guy as good as, if he becomes as good as Dak Prescott in his 4th year, then maybe you're like, okay, we'll pick up the 5th-year option. It was the offensive line. Daniel Jones can ball out. But we have to give him that opportunity because, again, and this is just my opinion, I don't like the quarterbacks in this draft class. I just don't. I don't think there's a game changer there. I could be wrong. Maybe Pickett comes into the NFL and he's amazing. Okay. Malik Willis, I hear that name a lot. Again, I don't know enough about Malik Willis. I don't watch Liberty football, but maybe Malik Willis is the guy. Okay. But my point is, I don't think there's a game changer immediately out of college like I did with Kyler Murray, where he can come into a bad team with a bad offensive line and all of a sudden change what we are doing here. So I'd rather fix his offensive line, take a chance that maybe Daniel Jones is a guy in a 4th year. And if he's not, then at least you have the offensive line for the guy in 2023, whoever the hell that is.
That I think is the best plan.
You know, that's why I made the video about Daniel Jones coming back.
Unless you're enamored with a quarterback, which we'll see, maybe they will be. And then you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But unless you're enamored with a quarterback, I think that's the best course of action for the team. That's my honest opinion. And Vin, hopefully we do get an opportunity to find out. Hopefully we do get it.
I agree. I agree.
And if he's not, then the O-line set up for the next guy. John says, back to Joe Judge. He is a special teams guy. Our special teams, that's a great point.
Yeah.
If there was one thing that you could kill him for, it is just that. Our special teams, Baddog, and like John said, this is a guy that is supposed to be known for special teams. Well, he was at the Patriots. They had the best special teams unit in football. It was 2 years there coaching the special teams. And ironically enough, the Giants, the one thing that they were good at before Joe Judge got here was special teams. It's why we kept the special teams coach.
Yep.
Special teams have not been great since he's been here.
Riley Dixon's been atrocious.
Horrible.
He won't be here next year. We're going to save $3.25 by cutting him. He's no cap hit. He's no dead cap, and he makes $3.25 million. You can get a punter for $700,000, and he can do a better job than
yes. He says back, and I just want to read the rest of it. Special teams guy or special teams is horrendous, and he says he oversees offense and defense. Special teams, none has improved. And listen, I'm not going to fault anybody for feeling that way. I can see both sides of the spectrum when it comes to Judge.
I want Judge gone, but I do think Judge will be back next year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be back, and I understand why he would be. But I also understand why fans would want to move on. Adam, man, thank you very much, man. What the heck happened to the Jones to Slayton connection? They seem so promising of it. Well, some of it I think has to do with Shurmur. I do. I think some of that has to do with Shurmur. I think Jones was drafted specifically for Shurmur's scheme, and I think Jones looked better in Shurmur's scheme. I think that's undeniable. He threw 24 touchdowns. You could say he compiled them against certain teams. I don't care. He had 3 different games where he threw 4 touchdowns. He's had 0 since, and he's played bad teams along the way. So I think that definitely had something to do with it. The Shurmur offense, I think Jones looked better in. But yeah, I actually think that's the primary reason, if I'm being honest. I think the Shurmur offense was a much better offense than what we've run since. Some of that falls on Judge, some of that falls on Garrett.
That and Slayton's been bad. I mean, Slayton has dropped passes, Slayton has fumbled, Slayton has had a lot of drops. Slayton is not the same player that he was his rookie season either. And again, when you're a rookie and you're a 5th-round pick, probably not a lot of guys defensively planning around you. Sometimes you can take the NFL by surprise. You don't really think about a 5th round draft pick. Oh, got to look out for Darius Slayton. Got to look out for this guy. A lot of people aren't saying, well, they're probably concerned. We got to stop Saquon Barkley. We got to stop Evan Ingram. I know Ingram's dropped a lot of passes, but still at the time, we got to stop him. You know, you got Golden Tate. You had Golden Tate in there as well. He was a veteran guy. I know he didn't do a lot for us, but I feel like there was other people that defense is focused on. And then last year, especially, we really don't have anybody but Slayton. And this year, we've had some injuries as well. But I think Slayton has regressed also, and defenses have to take him more seriously, that they know that the guy's a threat. So Slayton has not been able to adjust to the defense playing there. And again, he's dropped some passes. I mean, the pass against Washington was a touchdown. He dropped it. And people say, oh, Jones over. There's some people, man, I give Jones some shit, but there's some people that just kill him for everything. He overthrew him by that much. Slayton should have laid out for the ball.
Oh, that wasn't on Jones. That was not on Jones.
No, I know, but I'm just saying some guys will say, oh, we overthrew him.
Well, that to me, you're being too. That's too overcritical.
I agree, but even
that was on Slayton. Jones got rocked as he threw the ball too. You got to lay out and catch that ball.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Even if they want to blame that, if somebody want to blame that on Jones for overthrowing him by 3 inches, Slayton has to lay out for the ball. Yeah. You got to help your quarterback out. Slayton hasn't done that. So I think what Chris said is part of it, and I also think the regression of Darius Slayton is part of it too.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what it is. I think it's part. So, and like you said, they didn't have a book on Slayton when he first came in. Defenses started to give him more respect. Maybe that has something to do with it. The regression of Slayton, and I definitely think the scheme change didn't help. All you got to do is look at the red zone. Our offensive line was bad under Shermer. It's the same quarterback Jones in his rookie year. Our red zone offense was I think it was 16 under Shermer. The offensive line was much better under Shermer. So I definitely think the scheme had something to do with it. The play caller, Jones was drafted specifically to fit Shermer's scheme. Garrett's scheme is completely opposite. I mean, that has to have something to do with it. So, those are my reasonings as to why that, why it may be. But it's 12:06. We're gonna close it out. We're gonna be live in 13 hours. So we'll be live tomorrow. Giants taking on Miami. Bill, let me grab this real quick. He says, Sean Payton been in New Orleans long enough. Breeze is gone. Saints are rebuilding. Do what it takes to get him. Give him full control. I'll tell you what. I'm a guy that would be completely on board with sticking with Judge another year. If Sean Payton's available, Judge is good. If I'm going after Sean Payton.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not firing Judge before I know full well that Payton would take this job. But when a guy like Sean Payton becomes available, he's one of the top 5 coaches in football. You go out and you get him. I'd be all about that if he became available. We'll see if New Orleans moves on from him or if he wants to leave New Orleans. I know there's been rumors there, and he didn't come up with the Giants. He actually started with the Eagles, but got his first real shot with the Giants as the OC. I'm all aboard that.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I may help Daniel Jones out too. It couldn't hurt him.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
He's as good of an offensive play caller as there is. I mean, he's right up there with anybody else, whether it be Andy Reid, whether, Shanahan, McVay, whoever. I mean, Sean Payton's an incredible offensive mind. Sometimes he pisses me off when I'm watching the games when he overuses Taysom Hill. And, especially when they used to have Breeze on the team and he'd bring Taysom Hill in at the 20-yard line. I mean, what are you doing? But overall, Sean Payton is a mastermind. So, you sign up for that in a second.
One thing before you get to that. Q Logic said, Baddog, help Chris figure out what beer to go with tomorrow. I'm actually going to drink beer tomorrow myself. But
what are you drinking? Whatever you drink, I'll drink. What are you
drinking? I don't know what the hell I'm drinking because I don't usually have a plan. I usually just go there and I'm like,
I'm the same thing. I go to the beer distributor and whatever tickles my fancy is what I get.
Okay, then it's hard to figure it out. So we're in the same boat.
That's what I do. I go in there, I walk around, I pick a beer. That's what I do.
My fallback's always Heineken is always my fallback. But, I mean, I don't know, because I don't usually buy 12 packs or 6. But I usually get the 4 pints.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be tough. Also, one other thing I just saw real quick. Mike Gorga said our left tackle still has more touchdowns than Galladay and Tony combined. That's true, as does our practice squad fullback. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. Miles, man, he says, super excited and nervous for my first Giants game tomorrow. Hoping we get the dub. My happiness is in Mike Glennon's hand. 17. It's funny you said that, Miles. First off, I hope you have a blast. Your first game. Hopefully they win. Miami. So I hope you have a great time going to the game and hopefully the New York Giants get a win for you. But it's funny you say the score. That was my final score prediction. Unfortunately, I got it the other way. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. I got it 17-14 Miami. I hope it's 17-14 Giants. And I hope you have a great time and the Giants get to 5-7.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'm gonna go 20-16 Dolphins. I think it's one of those ugly low scoring games, but I just feel like this is one of those games with the Giants. I feel this is one of those games like I kind of thought was gonna happen last week, and hopefully I'm wrong again, where the Giants are up 16-13, near the end of the game, and Miami drives down, scores that heartbreaking touchdown. I could just see that. Hope not. Hope it's the other way around. Oh, I actually hope the Giants win 31-7. That'd be.
I don't see. Unless we get defensive touchdowns, you never rule it out. But I don't see our offense putting up 4 touchdowns.
No, me neither. But I'm just saying it'd be nice.
You never know.
Let's put up 30 with Glennon behind. Boy, that'll really get the Daniel Jones haters going, won't it? You put up 31 with Mike Glennon. Oh, Mike Glennon! The hell with Jones. Mike Glennon starting the rest. Well, you probably would have to start the rest of it.
If Mike Glennon had 4 touchdowns,
it's not going to happen. But what if the offense does come out and threw up 34?
I'd be thrilled. I don't care. I want to win. I'd be
Is
thrilled.
Glennon start the rest of the year?
I honestly don't think Jones is going to play another game this year. I really believe that. So, and maybe I'll be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want him to be back. I want him to, hopefully grow throughout the rest of the year with the new play caller, and we'll see if he's going to be the guy next year. But I'm leaning that it's at least. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's back next week.
The fact that Jones practiced this week, though, tells me he.
But that's what's so weird to me, Bad Dog. And I don't want to get into like conspiracy talk or anything like that, like we did with the Eagles. I'm not trying to bring that talk into it. But why in the world, if you knew that he's got a neck injury, would you put a helmet on him? And would you have him practicing, scanning the field every day? Like, it doesn't add up to me. Like, if he's not medically cleared by a doctor, wouldn't you think moving his neck around is not going to help the situation? So it's weird to me. It's weird to me.
That's what I was talking about. That's when I mentioned earlier. It's like they don't care about his health or his well-being. The dude came off of a concussion against Dallas, and against the Rams, they had him running quarterback sneaks down by the goal line. Like it just didn't make sense to me. Like, why are you doing that to him? I know he's been cleared, but still, why are you putting him in that situation? And yeah, if he's got a neck injury and supposedly he was ruled out on Tuesday or late Monday, and then on Tuesday they changed it and said he's going to, or Wednesday, whatever it was, and they said he's going to practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and he's questionable. And then it's just, I don't know what the hell this coaching staff's doing to Daniel Jones. I just don't. I think they know he's not long for the team, and they just don't care about it.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Which is a shame. I don't care if you don't believe Daniel Jones is your quarterback or not. Don't try to injure the kid. Don't be stupid and put him in harm's way and maybe ruin his career just because you're not high. I know it doesn't make any sense. Protect him. They move on from him and let him have a career somewhere else.
They rushed him back. We should have talked about this during the stream. We'll stay on for like 5 more minutes because this is a big topic that a lot of Giants fans ask. I want to get the Quaylogic's question. Adam says my favorite. I've actually had Voodoo Ranger. It's really good. I had that last week. It's an IPA. I may get that tomorrow, Adam. You just gave me that idea. That's a really good beer. I may have that.
All right, I'm just gonna have to find an IPA. I don't know what the hell. I might go.
That. It's good. It's really good.
Yes, I know what I'm going with. It's winter. Brown's Oatmeal Stout.
Oh, Oatmeal Stout's great.
That's what we're going with tomorrow.
If you like, I mean, I'm a big oatmeal guy, but Oatmeal Stout's really good. Now I may get that because I like Oatmeal Stout. I went from Voodoo to Oatmeal Stout, but yeah, I really like the Voodoo beer.
IPAs are more fall. Porters and stouts are winter.
Yeah, for sure. This is a good question, though. We didn't talk about it during the stream. I asked Chris earlier, Bad Dog, what if Fromm gets in the game and plays well and wins? What do you think about the DJ situation? So I don't even necessarily talk about that, but a lot of Giants fans on Twitter today, Bad Dog, were saying that they want Jake Fromm to start this game. I'm going to start it by saying, yeah, I know, and that's what I've been trying to tell Giants fans. I was coming to my Knicks stream today. He's horrible.
Awful guy.
I remember watching him coming out of Georgia.
Terrible
Quarterback.
No, you don't want Fromm in a game. Fromm
He's not good.
Sucks.
Maybe we'll be wrong. I hope we're wrong.
He's terrible.
But
he's terrible.
I know there were like reports that the Patriots wanted him. He's a limited quarterback. He's got no arm strength. I don't know.
Wanted him late in the draft.
Yeah,
if Mac Jones wasn't there,
he went in the 5th round. He's
terrible. You don't want Fromm. Terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a big Fromm guy. We'll see if he gets an opportunity. I'm not against him getting an opportunity if Jones out for the year because it's not like Glennon's great, whatever. But yeah, I'm not a big Fromm guy. I don't think Fromm's going to come in and be the future of this franchise. Maybe he could be a solid backup. That's probably why the Giants picked him up. Maybe he could be a potential long-term backup. Maybe they like him in that capacity. But I don't see him being a starter in the NFL. No, I just don't. I don't think he's going to be a starter in the NFL.
I mean, yeah, if Daniel Jones is out for the year and Glennon loses the next 3 games and we're sitting at 4-10, then yeah, I mean, I guess you would play, as Uncle Lou would call him, Jack Fromm. And Uncle Lou is a Georgia fan, so this is why I know that Fromm sucks because I listened to that for 3 years. Uncle Georgia don't know what the hell they're doing with quarterbacks either. They sit their 5 stars on a bench. Justin Fields, anybody? They don't play Justin Fields. Then they stick with Jack Fromm. And then they got JT Daniels sitting on the bench, and they step with Stetson Bennett. I don't know what the hell Kirby Smart's problem is down in Georgia, but all their good quarterbacks sit on the bench and transfer out, and they played like the worst quarterbacks ever. But you don't want Fromm, trust me. He's not good.
No.
He's not good. If you think Jalen Hurts is bad, Fromm is like a broke, and he can't run. Fromm can't run at all.
No.
He sucks. He would get murdered. He won't even last for the Giants. He'd be out. They have to.
I was shocked when we picked him up because the guy was fourth-string quarterback with the Bills. He's been they picked up Mitch Trubisky because they knew he wasn't a good enough backup. So, whatever. I understand where Giants fans are at. They're like, let's just see anybody. We know Glennon can't be the future. Maybe we throw Fromm in there and something sparks. And maybe he does give you 2 surprise weeks like Mike White did with the Jets, but he ain't going to be the future. I saw Russ say this. I'm going to get to Ronald real quick. He says, this is actually a quarterback I liked, Russ. It's funny that you bring him up. Not, he's a complete project, but I liked him coming out of college in terms of his upside. He says, I wish Jacob Eason was on a practice squad because at least he doesn't have the arm of a newborn. And that's why I liked him. He's got a cannon.
There's another Bulldog quarterback transfer to Washington. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
That's a guy I would actually be a little bit excited about.
He's better than Fromm is.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, maybe this guy's got something. That's a guy I'd want to see thrown in there maybe, but Fromm's got no upside as far as I'm concerned. Ronald, man, thank you very much. Baddog, I had Eagles tickets for you and Chris in a 111C, but you couldn't make it. Oh man, when is the next Giants game you guys would go? Next year we're definitely going to a game next year. Baddog couldn't go this year, Ronald.
Yeah, I couldn't go because I had to spend all my money on a computer, and it's not the tickets, it's everything else that goes with it. Because again, when I go to a Giants game, trust me, I showed Chris the tickets that I was looking at.
Yeah,
and they were right next to the like. I'm paying money to go to this. Like I do it once a year. Now it's gonna be once in 3 years. And when I stay down there, because I go with a couple of the guys, we get a suite. The hotel it's not cheap either. And I have the long ways of drives. You got gas and tolls, meals. It ends up costing me pretty much what my computer cost me, which was $1,500 So I just with Christmas with a 4-year-old, it was really, really bad timing. So next year, I'm definitely going to go. I'd like to go in September or October when.
I think that's the best. We didn't do that this year because we really wanted to go to the Eagles game. But
yeah,
I'm in complete agreement with you. I think September is or October is the best time to go because it's warmer. You could enjoy yourself. You tailgate. Even though it wasn't too cold when I went, but ideally, I'm with you, man. I think September, October is the best time to go. And
when it's high 60s, middle 60s is perfect. Like that's really good about it. So hopefully, in the first 2 months, we have to look at the schedule. But I am definitely going next year because my older computer lasts me 12, 13 years. I got the same exact one. So this should last me 12 years. It'll last me next year. And if we go in September, I ain't got to worry about saving money for Christmas for little Baddog. So it should be good.
But Ronald, man, yeah, listen, we really appreciate the offer.
Absolutely.
And next year we'll talk, man, if you still feel that generous, man. But thank you so much for being such a great supporter of the channel. And thank you for being here. But yeah, we're a matter of fact, I want to try to go to 2 games next year if I can personally. I know Baddog's got to travel a lot more, but I would like to go to 2 games next year, maybe even one on the road. We'll see. But we appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
I've had many offers to go to Philadelphia. Yeah, it's not happening. It's the day after Christmas anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, if that game meant something, I probably would have went. Like if the Giants were good this year, I probably would have went. But the fact that we've underperformed, I don't want to go the day after Christmas. It's not worth it for me. Matthew, man, thank you very much, man. Off topic, but should Parsons be in the Defensive Player of the Year convo?
Yes.
I probably. I mean, I would say he should be. I don't even know his stat. He's got 10 sacks.
He's got 10 sacks. Listen, I'm not saying that he should win Defensive Player of the Year, but I think he's in the discussion. I have no problem saying that, Matthew. As you know, you watched the video today. I got no problem saying how great Parsons is. My video was by no means a knock on Micah Parsons. Like I said, I wanted to draft Micah Parsons. I think he's had a great year. Let's not put him in the Lawrence Taylor category. That's all I'm saying. Let's not put him in that category.
I hate to admit it, the Cowboys actually have probably 2 guys on their team that should be in the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Diggs is the other one.
Yeah, they have 2 guys. I mean, he's got 9 interceptions. I mean, he's got to be at least in the conversation. But looking at the numbers right now, I just pulled them up. I mean, Myles Garrett's probably the guy. He's got 14 sacks. That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, he may break Strahan's sack record. I mean, it's an extra game, so having a little asterisk next to it if he does. But he's got 14 sacks in 12 games. Myles Garrett's got to be up there.
Yeah.
TJ Watt's having a really good year as usual. But yeah, I'd probably say Garrett, but he definitely should at least be in the conversation.
Yeah.
And Matthew says, also good job on beating the She-Eagles. Well, we appreciate it. And yeah, now we're going to beat you next. We're going to hope anyway.
Oh, yeah, we hope. I'm not making that. See, I know my limitations. Mark Holmes offered me a bet that I'd have to wear like I'm your daddy shirt or something. Like, Mark, I'm not betting because I know we're not beating Dallas. I felt like we could beat Philadelphia, but there's no way I'm betting with the Cowboys. I don't. We're not good enough to do that.
And Matthew's a smart guy. He says LT's unreachable. So
Listen,
there's a smart
they know. Look, I saw in the video. Anybody that's being honest with himself, whether you're a Giants fan or not, knows what if you're old enough, like I am, or that's why I got on Mark Holmes so much because Mark Holmes is older than me, so he knows better. If you're Chris's age and or Chris's age or younger, and maybe you saw him at the very end of his career when he wasn't the same player, he'd come off a torn Achilles in like 92 and he had 5.5 sacks his last season, or you never saw him play, okay. But when you're old enough to remember what that guy was to the NFL and what teams had to listen, search Lawrence Taylor highlights. Better yet, all you have to do, a microcosm of Lawrence Taylor's career, look up the 1982 Thanksgiving game against Detroit.
No.
He was benched the first half of that game because he missed a meeting or something. He missed the first half. They held him out for the first half. Watch what he does as soon as he gets in the game. He single-handedly wins the game for the Giants. You've never seen anything like Lawrence Taylor.
The guy won an MVP award on defense.
Yeah, only one other guy. Well, I think Watt's done that, right? Alan Page did it in 71. Then Taylor did it in 86.
I don't think Watt won an MVP.
Maybe he didn't. Alan Page definitely won one. And then Taylor. Those are the only two I know of. I don't know if Watt ever won one. He might have been in the voting. Maybe Taylor was the last one.
Let me see. I'm curious. To win MVP, NFL. I think he's the last one, I would imagine, but maybe I'm wrong.
I know Watt had a couple really good years in one defense.
Oh, he was incredible. I'm gonna read it real quick. Aaron Rodgers last year, of course, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady.
Defensive play. Oh, MVP. That's right.
Yeah, MVP. Yep. Let's see. Tom Brady 2017, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers again, Peyton Manning, Adrian Peterson. He's the last on quarterback. 2012, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander, Peyton Manning.
Never wanted that. You're behind him now.
Yeah, I just want to see if he's the last defensive player. McNair, Peyton, they tied that one year. Gannon, Warner, Falk, Warner, Terrell Davis. There's a second running back. Barry Sanders and Favre shared it in 97. Favre, Young, Emmitt Smith, Steve Young, Thurman Thomas, Joe Montana, Boomer Esiason, John Elway, Lawrence Taylor. Last defensive player to win the MVP.
Yeah. The guy was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Another planet.
Ridiculous. And Giannis says, if we get a pass rusher, what are we going to do with Aziz? He's going to play. He's going to be the guy opposite him. He's going to play. Aziz is just not like a ultra. I don't view him as a number one guy. I view him as a guy that could be a complimentary edge rusher. I mean, I hope he could develop into that number one guy, but I think we need like a upper echelon type of edge, and that would only help Aziz. It takes pressure off of him. Yeah. But guys, we are going to close this out. I just want to say thank you to all you guys for all the support that you guys always show. Went a little bit later. I really wanted to answer that question because I meant to talk about it at the top about Fromm. And I appreciate all you guys for being here. We're going to be live tomorrow at 1 o'clock talking about 12:45. Giants, Dolphins, big game. Giants coming in at 4-7. Dolphins coming in at 5-7. We'll see if we get a win. If we do, if like 8 things go our way, we can actually be tied for the last playoff spot. As crazy as that sounds. But we'll see how Mike Glennon does tomorrow. Really looking forward to the game. And again, thank you guys for making this our favorite thing to do on YouTube. You guys are the best. And Baddog, wrap it up, man.
Yeah, you guys and girls are amazing. And like Chris said, hopefully we get a win tomorrow. Again, I don't think the offense is going to be worse. I don't know if it's going to be better either. We're going to have to win this game on defense. And, yeah, we got to try to find a way to get Saquon Barkley involved in this game. And I think if we can get some turnovers and get some field position and find ways to just play good football, we can win an ugly game. I don't think that Miami is going to put up 35 against our defense. I don't think that they're a high-flying offense either. It'll be close. And, hopefully we can pull out a win and then I forgot who you have. Then we got the Chargers. Yeah.
Friggin' diehards, Baddog. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, Russ, you're amazing. Yeah, our guys and girls in the UK are incredible.
Diehards.
They are. But hopefully we get a win, and like Chris said, we get a bunch of things go our way. Maybe we get back in the playoff picture, but one game at a time. Hopefully we get a win tomorrow. We start a little winning streak, and let's go Giants, man, as always.
Appreciate all you guys. Bad Dog, do it.
All right. For the Entertainment Talking Sports, he's over here. He's not over here. For the Entertainment Talking Sports, the man digging the dizzle. We'll see you in about 12 and a half hours. We gone. Peace.